One more time, please.
One more time. A poacher's widow sat sighing on the side of the white chalk bank, while under the gloomy fir woods, one spot in the Lathrove rank, she thought of the dark plantation, and the hares and her husband's blood, and the voice of her indignation rose up to the throne of her God. I am long past wailing and whining. I have wept too much in my life. I've had 20 years of pining as an English labourer's wife. There's blood on your new foreign shrubs, squire. There's blood on your pointer's cold feet. There's blood on the game you sell, squire, and there's blood on the game you eat. So I'll take up my poor husband's bow, squire, fletch arrows of ashwood and yew. I'll scape to the Brinkwood this evening, and there will I join with the few. And I will not put down my labours. I'll take forest leaves for my bed, until this arrow pierces your cold hot, squire, and you and your coffin lie dead. So to kennels and liveried varlets, where you starved your own daughter of bread, and worn out with liquor and harlots, see your heirs lying at your feet lying dead. When you follow them into your coffin, and your soul rots asleep in the grave, then, squire, you will not be forgiven by the freemen you took as your slaves.
Hello, everyone. We are the Lost Caravan RPG. We do one-shots, mini-series, and long-running campaigns. If it's TTRPG, and it's bringing down the vampire hierarchy, we do it all. Tonight, we are playing a game called Brinkwood, Blood of Tyrants. It is a Blades in the Dark hack based in a world where vampires control everything, bring everyone under heel. And those that need it most, that are most lost and most hurting, are met with the most unlikely of allies. But before we get into it, we do have just a few announcements to get through. The first being that we have two sponsors for tonight's game. That is Hero Forge, which we use to make most of our cool tokens, but mainly it's where you can go to make super customized miniature models and get them sent straight to your door. Our other is Epidemic Sound, which I'm going to go ahead and kick up some. Epidemic Sound is what we use for all of our royalty-free sounds and sound effects. And if you are a streamer like us and you have to worry about a little thing called copyright strikes, we have never had to worry about that because Epidemic Sound is amazing. And you can use that link there to get 30 days free access to the entirety of the site. At the end of the 30 days, if you decide you don't want it, don't need it, you can cancel. It doesn't cost you a penny. But if you do decide to keep your subscription, it does go to support us. I can love you for it. Other than that, keep an eye out in the coming weeks for our casting call for next month. I have a bunch of really cool games in mind for it. Some new stuff and some stuff that we've seen before, but nonetheless. I'll give you a hint. I was feeling in very much a horror movie mode. So you see some horror games, because that's a word you have to really enunciate on stream. But other than that, we do have a website where you can get some of our very cool merch, which all goes to support us. And that's just lostcaravanrpg.com. But it's also where you can go to check out the crew behind the scenes, as well as the community that helps support us. All right. Oh, our YouTube channel. I always forget to plug this. Every stream of ours ends up on our YouTube channel. That's just Lost Caravan RPG on YouTube.
Except that one time.
There's a few videos that don't make it, but you know, the algorithm gods sometimes require a sacrifice. I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to pass it on over, give everyone a chance to tell you who they are and who they're playing tonight, and we will dive into the madness that is about to happen. We'll go clockwise, starting for me, which means that we are starting with Lonnie.
I'm not here. Kian's taking over for me tonight. Okay, I guess if I'm playing tonight, hi, I'm Lonnie or Looney Shaz. Um, I will be playing Sari tonight. She is gonna be interesting. I riddled with trauma, so we will see how I can play this. If you want to see more things that I'm in on Friday, I am in a sitcom RPG called After These Messages. We are playing basically New Girl matched with Greek gods. Come check it out. It's utter chaos. And then that's on High Shelf Collective. After that is the rest of the time I will be here for the 24th. I am running Tales from the Loop again. And on the 26th, I am in Call of Cthulhu. So I'm very excited. I've been hearing about it for months, so I finally get to play Call of Cthulhu. I'm stoked. So
Lunch crew.
that's all. Lunch crew. Okay. Anyway, I'm done.
That's our version of the Breakfast Club for anyone that didn't see the first one. If you didn't see the first one, go watch it. It's on YouTube.
It's its own totally unique concept. What are you talking about?
Sure.
Breakfast crew copy.
Over to Heck.
Alright, hey everybody, it's me, Sir Heckalot, and tonight I am playing Dyles, the healer slash barber. That's just like an option in this game. So I was like, I'm gonna choose that, and everybody's sad, and we're gonna see how that goes. The two of us use she, they pronouns.
Heck yeah. Then over to Cass.
I am playing Hedda tonight, who is a saboteur, but she doesn't know how she feels about that. I am going to be on Singularity Roleplay at the end of this month, in King's Gambit, which is going to be a spy game hack of 5e. And then the very next weekend, on the first weekend of May, I will be in Call of Cthulhu in the Speakeasy Conspiracy, seducing a snake man. We are going to talk about that. So yeah, Call of Cthulhu is excellent. I wish you luck with it. I'm going to die in the next session. But yeah. So.
And then that brings us over to Kian.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kian. My pronouns are they, them, theirs. You can find me on Twitter at uptight_Siobhan. Today I am playing Jovan, who is also riddled with angst. So I might have been able to pick up the slack there, Lonnie. But has a lot of internal turmoil about these here vampires and a lot of rage, which I'm really excited about. Yeah. That's me.
Yeah. And of course, I'm Andrew, your storyteller for tonight's game, and for most games around here, although you are going to see a bunch of friendly faces behind the GM seat in the coming weeks, we gotta go. I'm going home. I quit. I'm going home.
No,
you're not already home.
We need
you. Don't want to
already home.
You're already home.
Might as well keep going. We got a bunch of great people that want to tell a bunch of great stories, and we are here to support. All right. Suppose we might as well jump in at the very beginning of our story. When most of this nation feels nothing but hardship, pain, living under the vampire tyrants that treat a vast majority of people like less than nothing. So many lose so much. And it's those at their very lowest that find that they aren't exactly. I'm going to go down the line, ask each of you what it was that first reached out to you. How did you first meet this entity? We'll start with Sari. What's the first inclination that you weren't alone? That something or someone was out there waiting for you?
So for Sari, it was one of those, she had heard tales as a child, almost of a fae boogeyman of sorts. And after a really strange circumstance that she really couldn't figure out how it would pan out other than by some folklore being real, she ended up deciding to try to find the Fae. So really it was the tales that spread because of their doings or just because of their presence in the woods that actually drew her out to look for it and seek it out specifically.
As one night simply felt that it was time, left your home, possessions, left your life, and ventured into Gillis. Same question.
Yeah. So Tylee encountered this first when she truly did think that she was alone in the forest. Camera pans to the background behind her, and there's just this distant orange glow of fire. Um, she's weeping. She's obviously distraught. And it was a voice that she didn't recognize that she heard that said, "Don't worry, child. You're not alone."
A voice that somehow feels both cold and distant, but also warm. Knowing that you have a choice in this moment. Follow, voice beckons from, or to ignore it, turn back to what life you have. Rise, follow the voice. Brings us over to, I'm going to mispronounce this, Edie?
Hedda.
Hedda. I told you I was going to
Hedda.
mispronounce it. Hedda.
Well, sorry, my animals have decided to make noise. So Hedda meets this creature, on advice from somebody else after being cast out of the only home she's ever known, with people that she's learning were not good, but even though they cared for her, or they seemed to, and she wanders into the woods on the advice of Alfar and sees a person with a hood up and just their eyes glowing in the night, and sees truth in those eyes.
Stark realization that you are not staring at anything that should exist in this world, and there it is. Jovan? Jovan?
Jovan.
Jovan. I had it on the second try.
Jovan learned from a pretty young age that people have to make difficult decisions to survive, and they have lived with the consequences of those decisions that others have made in order for Jovan themselves to survive, and have felt pretty distraught and unsettled since coming to that understanding. And so they were looking for something bigger than themselves, something that would offer them a little bit of guidance and comfort, um, who would sort of put them in a position to make their own decision, and had found themselves pretty regularly wandering from home and getting closer and closer to the Brinkwood in the hopes that something in the forest might have some kind of an answer.
Being lost is not a new concept, especially here. They often go in search of something, someone, anything. Night, as you hear the cracking of branches as others stumble their way through the trees, about clearing. place that, despite the coldness of the night, feels warm. Almost intoxicatingly so. All of you, moments after I'm stepping out of the tree, I'll see a figure cloaked in shadow, eyes brighter than the moonlight, staring at you. Don't be nervous. I promise you, I'm here to help. Come, sit.
Oh,
Jovan is
sit.
not.
Yeah.
Hedda's gonna look around like,
Yeah.
okay.
Sari just very determinedly? That doesn't sound right.
Determined.
She's very determined and she sits down. Yeah.
A small flame starts to build in between this figure and all of you. It is an icy blue flame. It gets larger, maybe a foot tall. Burns and crackles like any other flame. But oddly enough, it's not producing any heat. It's almost a void. As eyes continue to peer out at you, reflected in them. This odd sensation, this individual, whoever they are, see more than just your. See who you were, who you might become, all of your possibilities. They hold out a single hand. Cloak comes open. A frail, thin figure underneath. Bluish skin, although very fair, and just reaches out above the flame itself, as if to take all of your hand. Your lives have not been, I know, but I offer you a choice. We'll die tonight, reborn into something better, something different. The tyrants around you believe they are untouchable. My help, we will prove them wrong. Unless you wish to return the lives that you left behind, the lives racked with pain, misery. Wish to die? Take my hand.
Jovan walks forward and holds his hand out and kind of hovers it over the creature's hand and tries to look in its eyes. I'm not sure how easy that would be for Jovan to do. Whether that's a height discrepancy or just the fact that this creature is very unnerving, unclear. But does their best to maintain eye contact and just says, you can promise us the power to do this.
I promise that you will not truly die. You will not know rest until you have wreaked vengeance on those that have caused so much pain.
Well, that's not any different from the life I've been living, and I'm going to take the creature's hand.
A crackling and a pain that washes over your hand that only hurts for a second before it goes numb. And all that weight that you carry, every bit of pain that weighs you down in your life just starts to melt away. Or experiencing true freedom. Looks at the rest of you.
I think, yeah, Tylees would walk up and, very hesitantly, put her hand forward. Just say, anything is better than this. And take the hand.
Like a frozen block of ice, your mind just starts to thaw. Bits of things that no mortal should know start creeping away. Things about life beyond this life, of a world beyond this one, where beings conspire to slay vampire tyrants. Once that pain is gone, that initial crackling on your skin, just a warm, numb. Edda, Sari.
Hedda looks so nervous. But she'll walk up and kind of like Javon did, just kind of hold her hand out, like just hesitating. All I want is the truth and to save my sister.
You'll know truth like none before you have ever known. I will give you the strength to save those that are most in.
I don't care about anyone in need. I want to save my sister.
Then save her.
Anything. And I'll reach out.
Again, feeling like that ice around your heart and mind and soul is melting. And she looks up at Sam.
Sari is sitting down near the fire still and kind of is like covering, like has her arms crossed because she almost felt exposed, like you said, naked, kind of like being seen through, like how they just were able to know everything about us right away. But she has basically been looking at this Fae for the entire time they've been talking. And without moving, she just tries to meet his eyes, or their eyes, and say, are you not the reason that I'm in this pain to begin with?
Of course not. You.
Then how?
Mind or heart burned.
How could an entire family forget about me? If it wasn't for some strange magic like you have.
Because it's easier to forget the pain than acknowledge it.
And you think the pain will go away if we help you? Or if you help us?
No, the pain will not wane. The pain will drive you, will make you strong, will make you able to make a difference around you.
I've seen enough pain to be strong, but I guess another burning question in my mind could maybe be answered from this. And she stands up and almost just kind of like pops her hand on top, just
An instant, painful burning of the flame as it just shoots up, consuming all of your hands, good 3-4 feet tall. And although your hands should be blackened flames, nothing. The pain that you have all already experienced makes this nothing. This moment you can feel not only each other's pains, but the pains of the world. Everyone's suffering. Everyone's misery. All of it. Back to Tyrants of Blood. She lets go of your hands. Flame dies back down. And you find that you're no longer standing in the middle of the woods in a clearing. In fact, there's snow on the ground. There's snow in the trees, snow in the mountains that loom high, high overhead, miles tall. Welcome home. You will be our soldiers, our warriors, our means at taking down the vampiric overlord. But you will not do so alone. You have weapons forged for, well, you. None of my kind can wield them. They were not designed for us. Designed for you. And she'll just kind of gesture towards her cloak. Patterns start appearing. Patterns that at first look so alien and foreign, but then start to make sense. Gestures one to the next. To the aspect of lies, aspect of ruin, the aspect of terror, of violence, of riots, of torment, and of judgment. These will be your tools. Use them how you see fit. And at that moment, we're going to take a small step forward. As you all officially now belong to the Court of Winter. They that had brought you into the fold. Individual named Cyrelli Snowdust has been your guiding teacher, mentor, and your confidant for who knows how long. Time works differently. But when she feels you're ready, brings you back to this very spot, watching you all have grown from broken mortals to whatever you are now, capable, strong, and so angry. She again brings forth the flame. This time hood down. See that her hair is just a flurry, snow and ice. Every time she moves, it leaves gusts and trails of snow that just taper off. Now her face is just a smile. It's almost glowing pride. Looks from one to the next. You are human. Back home are in need. Get more details once you're there. But a certain individual is requesting extraction. This is an individual that worked very closely with the Duke. Knows a lot of secrets. Could be very valuable for effort. In addition, it's rumored that there are a number of factories working to produce ghouls, undead servants that weren't able to escape the vampire's evil death. Shut down these factories, find this individual, get them out safely. I know you'll succeed. Are there any questions?
Who exactly is it that we're supposed to be acquiring?
His name is Von Zelmer. He was a former scientist that worked under the Duke.
Hoop, would I know who that is?
Yeah, you've heard the name Von Zelmer. Was a almost ridiculed many years ago, but got to the point where his ramblings and research started to get less and less ridiculous and more renowned.
As in factories making ghouls renowned?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
You want us to extract the man responsible for literal hordes of undead?
Didn't invent ghouls.
He mass produces them.
And once we have his information, we know how to stop them for good.
So let me get this straight. He created this problem, more or less, that he's now stuck in, and he wants to leave. How do we know we can
The
trust
port
him?
service.
Yeah, how is this not a trap?
Because the Duke is already sending soldiers to go and apprehend and imprison this individual.
That doesn't make it not a trap.
If they get to him first, everything he knows is gone forever.
Fine.
I'm not saying he needs to arrive wholly intact, just alive.
I can live with that.
I understand your apprehension, too. We aren't going to win by playing by their rules. We've trained you for every possible outcome we can think of. Trained your minds, your bodies, and your hearts. Now all that's left is for you to put it. It'll ignite that flame in front of you. Now's your chance. If you wish to not embark on this mission, I won't force you. Do step through the flame.
it has gotten a bit boring in all of the training and not being able to actually do anything. And Jovan is going to approach the flame and walk through.
And Hedda is going to pull on thick leather gloves to disguise her clawed hands, being scale folk, and is just going to look at Snowdust and go, I won't be responsible for him arriving alive, and go through the flame.
Sari will look at Sorelli and just in like this moment of exasperation, just like I've waited so long to meet you after everything and just I guess thank you for not being the bad guy that I thought you were, and ends it with a question and then just kind of like awkwardly nods like that was the end of her sentence and just goes through.
She'd absolutely just beam with a smile. Watch you step through.
Dailies will just say, we'll make it work. Go through the flame.
As soon as you're all through, the flame will extinguish. Yes. You will. Luck. And we'll all arrive edge of the Cardenfell land. Place heavily claimed by the Duke. Hordes of minions, townships, guards, and soldiers. Just one piece of the. But still, under the cover of darkness, slip quietly the gates of Grismon, a town on the banks of the Cardenfell. You move from shadow to shadow, under steepled roofs and overhanging bridges, past great halls of Gothic stonework and smoke-belching factories of brick, ash. And as we approach the meeting point, this Von Zellner, off a quiet side street, off the commercial busy. I'm actually going to ask everyone to give us a visual depiction of their characters. Now that you have been touched by the Winter Court, now that you've been put on your mission, and for everyone that doesn't know, in Brinkwood, there's a vast array of options for character building. Very few of them human.
Very few of them human.
I don't think any of us are human.
Yeah, I did not choose that.
No one saw that list and went, yeah, let's just be human.
I'll just be a regular guy, you know?
So, 3. What's your character look like?
So my character is what is known as a deep folk, which is a version of like merfolk, like descendants of. So she kind of has like this greenish skin that is kind of faded a little bit because of being in winter. It's not really like the vibrant colors that you would probably see if it was continually under like bright sunlight, but just kind of like palish green skin. She's awkwardly tall for her, you know, just she like it doesn't look like her proportions are right somehow. And she does have webbing between her toes, and she usually does walk barefoot, which is I don't know if that's normal to most people, but she thinks that it's totally fine. And she's just wearing, you know, normal clothes for the time period. She wouldn't want to stand out or, you know, anything, so she's just She's awkward, like she's awkwardly tall, she has green skin, she has webs, but don't perceive her.
How dare you perceive me?
Can't see me.
Thanks.
All right. So peeking around the corner, is Dialy's that has skin that she's a Sylfolk, or I'm just gonna say Syl because like Sylvan, I guess, like it's very kind of like Fae adjacent. And she has skin that is like the color and patterning of like an aspen tree. And her hair kind of like cascades down a lot like how the branches of a willow tree would look. Now touched by the winter court, it's all kind of a frosted kind of look. But yeah, she's not like too awkwardly tall. She's just like thin, lithe, rather graceful in her movements. And methodical in how she goes about walking down the street. And yeah.
How dare you make us fall in love with this character?
Do you see what I'm doing?
I know, I was watching your reaction. I was like, oh boy. Oh no, she's hot.
Hedda.
Hedda is scale folk, but which can mean a whole lot of things in this, but I decided to be a dragon, because dragons. But she looks human from a distance.
Humanoid.
And it's humanoid. And then you get up close and she has very, very pale skin, and you can see like at her hairline and like on the back of her neck and across like her collarbones and shoulders and like on her arms, these patches of flesh-colored scales that cover. And then her hair is black, but it's that black that looks iridescent blue like a raven's feathers in the right light. And she knows she's not supposed to be seen in these lands, so all that is covered up with a big ass cloak. No one, literally, there is no do not perceive me. There is I am hiding. You do not see me. No, I'm gonna die.
Don't be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious.
Is Hedda a tailed lizard folk?
No,
tail.
she is not. Yeah, no, she was picked up because she looked mostly human, and kept as a little pet. So feelings about that.
And of course, last but not least, Jovan. Sorry, I'll get it right eventually.
Okay. Jovan is also humanoid, but sort of like canine features, slightly sharper eyes than one would expect. Teeth are questionable, and perpetually grumpy, just like not a happy individual, which really is unfortunate because you can't see them because Jovan has long dark hair, but he has pretty much the equivalent of fennec fox ears that will pop up. And so he can look as grumpy as he wants, and those ears, those sonar ears go up, and he knows it detracts from his fierceness. And so they try to keep them tucked down as much as they can. But it is a little bit challenging. But pretty average height. I don't know, my characters are always a little taller than I am, so I'm going to say that Jovan is like 5'6". Is a lot taller than I am. And yeah, like tries to present very like to have a big presence, but overall is a pretty thin person. But yes, really wants to be grumpy and is fully aware that the ears detract from that, and so has a hood up pretty regularly, so that even if they do come up, people are not immediately just enamored.
Do they move like dogs' ears when?
Yep, they absolutely do.
Oh, amazing. You've given me these fantastic characters to now torture.
Yay! We already did that in the backstory, but yay!
Wait, did I say the thing? Oh, she has Hedda has nictating lenses. So like when she blinks this way, she also blinks this way. Sorry. I was like, I forgot something. What did I get? The blinking.
So, as you all slip through the streets, given the unique abilities that you all have from being members of the Winter Court, you stare at this door, which to most would look like an absolutely average. You can all see a moment he's kind of kicks up, brings in this snowy wisp across it, and it lands like glitter. Stays. Says, knock thrice with haste, and twice with grace.
Is that shaving a haircut 2 bits?
That's more
I
than
was trying to
3.
count it in my head.
It is more than 3, but I was like, da 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 da. Okay, sorry. Sorry.
I'm going to glance at the rest of the group and just kind of gesture. Anyone?
I'll go up and go tap 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 tap.
It takes a few moments, but the door kind of creaks open. See just a sliver of a face and an eye peek out. Throw back in, the door shuts, and you can hear like bolts and chains being undone. Again, it takes like another full 60 seconds the entire time, unhooking more and more chains, undoing more and more deadbolts.
Same.
The oak door finally creaks open. You see an older individual, glasses, very, very stark white hair, curly, thinning mustache, and peers out. Are you?
Pushing this old man backwards inside. Stop talking.
Come in, come in. Like peers out the door after you're all in. The Duke's men's are everywhere.
Close the door and quit talking where people can hear you.
Quietly shuts it. Were not followed, were you? I take that. Once you're inside, it's a small, like, one-room parlor. There's barely any decorations or pictures. There's one small, like, twin-sized bed with just a large trunk on it, clothes, and just an entire mess of what everything he owned was just jammed into this trunk. There's empty bookshelves. It looks like what little he had is already packed and ready. What's left is still out. He immediately goes and starts like organizing and collecting. Anything you'd like to do while he is busily getting everything ready?
I'm going to open the trunk and see if there's anything cool inside.
There's
Gonna be
lots of.
cornering this old man, so
It's very dusty. The clothes are like old and tattered. There are books and trinkets and bottles. None of it looks particularly interesting.
Sigh heavily and repackage it. The way that he had it packed, because I'm not a scoundrel.
The way
But
we've
I'm
had it
complaining
packed was just grabbing armfuls of stuff and shoving it in.
Oh,
So
it's much neater than
Easy
that
to
now.
hide. Yeah, easy to hide your tracks.
Yeah. Anna, you said you wanted to corner this old man.
cornering this old man. Hazelna. Notes. Where are they?
Sorry, what notes?
Oh,
I do
we are here
a
for
lot of
you
research.
and We're here for you and your information on how to mass produce the non-living entities.
Yes, yes. Um, yeah, first of all, and like goes to like hand you some vials of stuff. Um, this is nitrate. It's how you say volatile. Big boom.
Oh,
I'm gonna go take one.
handing that to Jovan and keeping a little one for myself.
So there are some ways, some steps that's to do. First, kill the overseer.
Kill the overseer. Okay. No, all right. Is all of this written down, or is it just in your head?
Just taps the side of his head.
I'm both impressed and also irritated by this.
Well, everything that I have is in here. They have taken the rest.
Oh,
Overseer Garrigan will be most likely in possession of all of my notes. Also, destroy the lab. This way that all of my work will be erased.
what would our luck be for all of this to be in the same location?
Very. There's only one factory that produces
Oh,
the
perfect.
the ghouls, as my research has brought to them.
Perfect. One factory. Javon, you know what we're doing.
Cannot wait.
Big boom.
How volatile is this as I gently shake it?
Very.
Got it. Putting it away from my body.
Now, the process is very difficult to explain. Like, far too difficult. No time. But suffice to say that the test subjects, they are not your normal ghouls. Most ghouls are simply driven by hunger and pain. My poor throat. Uh, these ghouls, they are more calm, more reliable. That is why
They can
they took wants me so badly.
can these ghouls think for themselves?
That was going to be one of my questions.
No,
No,
not really. No.
but they take orders?
Yes. They are very reliable. Uh, my ghouls, they were very reliable. Um, much less prone to fits of rage and destruction.
Less prone, not entirely.
They're still ghouls, as you understand. If they get the smell of blood, and drives them into a frenzy.
Right. And if one goes, a whole pack goes, or
If they are also close enough to smell the blood, possibly.
great.
How
Great.
many, if you had to ballpark, how many ghouls are there?
Total? Everywhere?
In the factory, and perhaps that we will run into in trying to get your
Oh,
sorry ass out of here.
a few dozen, maybe.
Dozens. That's fine.
It is just a factory to produce them, not keep them locked up. Most of the ones that we will find would be the for repairs, or very very small guard.
I'm going to ask a very stupid question. Where are they kept if they are not kept at the factory?
Anywhere the Duke wants them.
How many have you made, Herr Zellner?
I have only made one or two. The factory has produced countless.
There it is.
There it is. That's what I wanted to know. Okay, this is fine. This is perfectly fine.
The goods that I was able to create, they are not not in pain. They're not in agony. They do not have the constant hunger for food, for blood, for flesh. They are at peace. They simply do the work, and that's it.
And pardon this one last question. Where did you get the bodies to make them?
The bodies are usually supplied by the Duke.
Yes, at peace, all of them.
I am aware that not everything I have done has been ethical.
That's certainly a word to choose, Herr Zellner.
But I am trying to make amends. That is why I have called.
Are you sure it's not because the Duke is after you now?
Why is the Duke after you?
I may have slipped some incorrect calculations into the latest research, and they are sure to have discovered that by now, and will likely come to capture, torture, and imprison me.
Oh, I like you a little better now. But only a little.
We should be going, yes?
We're not taking the trunk, it's too heavy.
You can tell that he's immediately ready to argue, and then realizes that he is in no position to argue, and just says nothing.
Are we, this is Kian asking, are we meant to be taking this guy back to the
Mhm.
court?
Mm-hmm.
Do we, is there a map anywhere so we can figure out where the heck we're supposed to go when we walk out that door?
Yeah, were we told a drop-off location for the cargo?
Back at the way you had come.
Okay.
Gotcha. Which is several miles away.
Something like that.
We're
Is the-
not carrying the trunk.
Are
No.
we like going for the flame door?
What's
Is
that?
that gonna open back up? Is the flame door gonna open back up for us at
Mhm.
that point? Or are we okay, okay, I understand now. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are important questions to know.
You all hear the sound of hoofbeats outside in the streets, and the sound of wheels rolling along cobblestone. Then it stops, and the sound of heavy armored figures hitting said cobblestone.
Time to
Yeah,
get-
I'm putting a chair on the front door. Like
No.
Helping redo
on
all
the
of
way
the
out with you.
chains that he
Stop
just
before you do
undid.
it. Let me peek out.
So you see a handful of figures stepping out of a carriage. These are the Forsworn. They're the personal guard and army of the Duke.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Badass name.
They're
Also,
all they are equipped with pristine armor and weapons. They are like each squadron is enough to fight its own miniature war.
Oh no, they had.
we ever checked to make sure there was another way out other than the front door?
Yeah, there's not.
Well,
We didn't check for it, that's for sure.
there is this cellar. It's not a large tunnel. It will be one at a time and slow.
It's better than that way.
It's better than that way. All right, chair under the door.
Sure, to the door.
Redoing all the
Let's go.
chains.
All of them. uh, with my subterfuge supplies,
Oh,
as everybody's making their way to the cellar, can I like move things around to make it look like obviously he started to go, but like that maybe somebody else came and snatched him and dragged him out the door?
oh.
Wow.
Smart.
Why do we make the very first roll of the game?
God damn it.
Yeah.
I do this to myself. What am I
So,
rolling?
That's entirely up to you. What stat do you think fits this action?
Let me look at them.
I might throw this under Tinker, possibly Study, also Finesse might work.
I was thinking finesse or wreck. But I'm wrecking in a very specific way.
Yeah, I can see that. Let's go with Wreck.
Okay, good, because I have extra bonus points to that. There was no ulterior motive in choosing that at all. Okay, so I just roll 1d6 for this?
How many points do you have in Wreck?
2.
So you roll 2d6.
Oh.
Take only the highest die.
Okay, 1d6, 2d6, and then I take only the highest die. Sweet. Let's do this. Random number generator, bless me. 5.
Beautiful. So what does the room look like now as you pull out your supplies and just get to work?
Well, the trunk gets dumped on the floor.
Absolutely.
After I make sure there's no more nitro freaking glycerin in it.
Yeah, I was like, hello?
I was like, he said nitrate, and I was like, okay. Okay. Yeah, so that gets dumped on the floor, and I'm going to like scuff the heels of my boots towards the floor or towards the door, and I'm gonna like unlock everything. And like maybe crack it just a little bit, and just make it look like this old man put up a fight, and then clear any tracks of any kind, any disturbance heading towards the cellar.
Absolutely. Well, I have 2 villain points. I should probably spend one.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Cool, thanks, chat.
Yeah.
Chat.
It only
Yeah, I'm looking
It's-
at you, Elsie.
a few moments of making this place look trashed and absolutely tossed as he goes over, lifts up a trapdoor next to the bed, and one by one all start filing down. Hedda, you obviously being last as you making this tossed. There's this slight glow from outside, and then something just comes crashing through the window, hits the ground, and just splashes as the interior of the room is now alight.
Did you just Molotov
I just
cocktail this
Molotov
place?
cocktail this place.
Okay, I'm gonna just go, well, fuck, and close the trapdoor behind me
You
and go, time to go.
can hear just pounding on the door as they are calling for this individual.
But I left it open so they go to pound and it swings open.
Absolutely, it does. And
Can
they're staring at the room. Go ahead.
The sudden burst of oxygen just brings the fire out to them?
Ooh,
It would
backdraft.
certainly
Flashovers,
feed it
yeah, those are real.
and start burning down the room at a rapid rate, which means that smoke is just filling not only the room, but as the fire burns down the corridor behind you.
Height of the corridor, please, sir.
You're crawling.
Great. Wrapping piece of fabric around my face.
I'm not going to roll for the NPC because just gonna go with whatever your rolls are. But I feel like this is a fantastic chance for us to use a group roll. So whoever wants to be the leader, you will basically help guide everyone. But everyone rolls, and we take whoever rolls the very best, and that roll counts for everybody.
Okay.
But whoever's the leader takes a point of stress for everyone that only rolls a 1, a 2, or a 3. So who was the first one down into the tunnel?
Literally not it.
Couldn't be Hedda. I think Suri
mean-
was second to last.
Hopefully.
I was not prepping anything, so I feel like Devon might have grabbed the old man and dragged him down.
Fair enough.
Fortunately.
So, Jovan, you were leading. You were the head of this expedition. So, what would you like to roll for this?
Is there an argument? I don't think that there's an argument for skirmish. Doesn't make any sense here.
Not really fighting the tunnel. Finesse would work. Prowl, I think, would work.
I do survey. I was trying to like figure out how to best get through this tunnel.
I would
And
take
like
survey,
actively
yeah.
like move and dig it out and make sure that it's clear for everybody else behind me.
Absolutely. So
Okay, thank you,
everyone
'cause I have
can
faith.
roll your survey.
Okay.
I got a 5.
5. Beautiful.
Surveys on. Okay, inside. I was just like, where is it?
6.
4.
4.
Hello? I want to let
Come
me
on.
roll it. Hello?
You have to click the roll button on the right hand side.
You have to click the green roll button. Yellow? What color is that?
Like a rainbow.
Okay, I'm just gonna roll a d6. I don't know why it's being weird. I'm just gonna do that. 4.
4. No one rolled a 3.
No stress. No stress.
You all scoot your way through the tunnel. Little bits had started to cave in over time, and Jovan is just pushing them out of the way, just scraping the path so that everyone can fit through.
Foxes
Trained for.
This is my natural habitat.
Big burrows.
I'm going to mark one piece of the clock for the Forsworn. They are
Can we ask how big that clock is?
4.
Is that an 8? Oh, okay.
But you were able to avoid them for now. Crawl along this tunnel, the smoke gathering behind you, eventually coming to an end. The tunnel just stops.
Is it like a brick? Or
It takes a moment of feeling around in the dark, but you can feel above you there is stone, like crafted stone.
we have hit a wall.
Just push up.
What's above us before we push?
It should be abandoned.
Should be.
Abandoned what? What though?
Bon Lake. What?
I'm
Graveyard?
sure what it was. Abandoned ruins.
I'm gonna do the like little cartoon where I just barely push up and you see my eyes.
Hmm.
See what I can see.
Little folded like ears under it peeking out too.
Push up. The dirt kind of starts, pouring down a little bit as you do. But you stare out at mostly darkness. There's a few lights that's kind of shine down through the busted down brick and wood frames. It looks like whatever this was, it burned out a long time ago and they just never bothered to.
Gonna slowly shift the stone and use my little sonar ears. They have come up. They've probably knocked the hood back to see if I can hear anything as I like crawl out, but I'm telling the old man to wait because I don't suspect he's gonna be very helpful if we get into a fight.
I mean, you can hear people in the distance.
Okay.
Or near the heart of the city by this point. You can hear the sounds of the factory not too far from this position, but nothing in the immediate vicinity.
I think we're in the clear for now if everybody wants to come up.
Hoop, do I see any light coming down the tunnel behind us?
Nope.
Well, I'll try to help give the our friend a little like lift, like put my hands out so he can like step on my like step up so I can kind of like push him.
He's very light.
I toss him.
I'm about to say, if you accidentally like cheer vault him into the air.
God. I'm not that strong. I don't think I chose any kind of strength anything for this.
I don't think any
but
of us did.
Yeah, no.
It's gonna go great.
One by one, we're all either hoisted up or climb your way up, and you seem to have a moment to amongst these ruins, as even passerbys that get relatively close walking down the main street don't even give this place a second look.
There's still like 4 kind of defined walls and like stuff is crumbling above us, or like is there a
It's
wall that's
more or
exposed or
less-
anything?
You can see the skeletal structure of this building, what it was. It was maybe a warehouse or a barn or something, but yeah, it's enough to give you enough cover to hide.
Okay. So we can figure out a plan. Does anyone have a plan?
Imagine.
Crazy.
Imagine having
I
a plan.
mean, I have the bare bones of a plan. I don't. I mean,
I take out the nitrate and jangle it a
yeah,
little bit.
that's my plan.
That's as far as I've gotten.
We go. I maybe go in. Good at hiding in plain sight. Snag the man's notes, or at least make sure they go up in flames, and then you all possibly cause a distraction for me to get out. Don't know what we'd do with the old man in this plan because, you know, he's an old man.
Exactly how light is this old man?
60 pounds?
Like,
hold on.
how tiny?
How tiny is he? 60 pounds is like the size of a toddler.
Yeah, I was like, that's a child.
That
Or
is the child.
or 10, maybe?
Okay.
Okay.
So we're all just
Okay.
like, I think most of us are just lumbering over him.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
though.
He's been
Yeah.
on the run and hiding out for a while.
Okay, well he's less scary than I kind of imagined now. That's
I kind of want to
helpful.
feed him. Like,
I mean, if-
strangle him and feed him in the same impulse.
If worse comes to it, and you know, Suri just showed us we could toss him if we need to get him out of the
I
way.
mean, honestly, I want to toss him into a hidey hole. We go blow up the factory and get his notes, and then we grab him on the way out.
Well,
Yeah, I think having him hide here might be the best idea.
I was gonna say you
Not
have
here,
the bones of a
because
plan.
if they find the tunnel,
True.
Mhm.
yeah.
Give us just 1 second. We'll be right back. Give us 60 seconds.
Okay.
All right.
And we're back.
We weren't talking about you.
No,
We
not at
weren't
all.
talking about you at all, Who. Mm-mm. Not your panic dad eyes, nothing. Like...
So, you all sit. You, he would, of course, offer to stay here in the safety of the ruins while you go deal with the factory, knowing that he will likely be more of a liability than an asset.
You're not staying here. If they find the tunnel, they find you.
So what would you recommend then?
Maybe get
Really
we
well
know
known in
Grismont?
this town?
Yeah.
Probably,
No.
yeah, okay.
Do we know Grismont? Do we have people in Grismont?
If you did know anyone, they're unlikely to be able to help you at this immediate moment. It's like more that you could
Any
reach
other-
out through contacts, set up a meeting point, and get their help.
Any other burned out buildings?
There's a few, yeah.
I grew up in the Duke's domain.
Mhm.
That was part of my backstory. Is there a chance that I might have been here before?
In this town?
I don't know how big the domain is. Yeah, I don't know. Like, is this like, is it the size of Texas or is it like the size of New Jersey?
I mean, the Duke basically runs a country.
Okay, so probably not. Okay. Well,
So this is a question of just me probably not understanding masks 100% still. Just so happens that one of the masks called Lies has a special ability that if you are able to get a single drop of blood from someone, you may expend 2 essence to change your face to match theirs. Is that something we could use on him?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, sorry.
Like
You mean to transform him into someone?
yeah.
No.
Yeah. I was
Because I was gonna
thinking
just
we
like
could-
I was just gonna be like, you could be me, like no one, like I try to literally
yeah.
look nondescript, you could just be me.
Yeah. I was thinking I was going to use it to get into the factory.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I do.
I'm gonna take off my cloak and bundle him up in it. I don't know what he's wearing, but I feel bad for this imaginary old guy. So
Still want to kill
I'm gonna
him.
give him a cloak.
I mean, we
yeah,
could,
yeah.
if his face isn't just like automatically known to the public, we can like put him in a dark corner of a pub and go like Aragorn style of like
Oh, yeah.
the deep brooding stranger that like no one wants to approach
Stranger.
because they're just like, who is this man child that's
This man
drowning in his
child.
cloak?
If we're gonna have to come back and recover him, we should probably start on this path that we're gonna need to take anyway and find a place
Yeah.
that's a little closer to where we're going.
And I wouldn't recommend the pub because then we got to run into people on our way out. Deserted, burned out building.
I mean, ideally, all the people will be running to the factory that's just exploded.
Why would they be running towards the ghouls?
I don't know. Vampires are fucking weird.
These are people.
These people are vampires.
Are all the
this
people in
are
this
just-
town vampires?
No, this town is just people.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. In the factory, vampires.
At least
Yeah.
one that you know for sure, the Overseer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Cool.
So just a different rundown building, just someplace out of the way, no one should go past.
On the way to the factory, but not like obvious.
Then I'm
There's
actually
gotta be like 20 of those.
so many.
Right.
Actually, I'm going to ask for another group check. Just a general means of being stealthy, just how well you all are moving without being detected. Would anyone
What would
like
that be?
to helm this?
Would that be something like prowl?
Would be prowl, yeah. That's
Okay.
Prowl is most likely going to be your stealthy.
Yeah, I've got a 1 in proud, so.
Got a 2.
Ooh.
Okay.
You.
Take the lead.
Yeah. Don't be
Oh, leader of ours that we can't even see because you're so sneaky.
Okay. So yeah, everyone could roll your prowl.
If
And
we have no dice in prowl, reroll 2 and take the lower.
Yep.
Disrespect.
And if we have 1, we just roll the 1.
Just roll the 1.
This dice roller really likes me. This is already my second 6.
Okay, I'll take that 5.
Got a 5.
A 5, a
So
5.
sorry, heck. I rolled a 1.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Stress.
So you take
One
1 point of
stress.
stress.
Okay, where do I
Hashtag.
mark that? Let me find it. Is there somewhere to mark it on here?
It's at the top of the sheet,
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Just I'd be scrolling.
I think. Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Little diamonds. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be scrolling.
As you all do your very best to sneak around undetected, there are certainly times when you think people may have spotted you and you have to quickly duck off out of the street. But in general, get by as well as can be expected. Stuff your scientist, doctor, best friend in the world off in some old ruins, now wrapped in, was it a scarf, a coat?
Cloak,
Cloak?
I think.
It was my cloak, so my ears are exposed.
Oh.
That's why you rolled a 1. It's because you're nervous about the ears.
Honestly.
Oh. I feel like I just want to like pat him on the head before we leave. Like, stay here.
This old man. You pat him on the head, I lean over. You leave, I kill you.
Good cop, bad cop. It's fine.
Yeah.
This is normal.
No cops. We're gonna kill the cops. That's where we're going.
Yeah.
Sorry, Twitch. I'm not advocating violence against police officers, but
In a TTRPG. In a video game.
in a video game.
In Roblox.
Is this Roblox? Is this what Roblox is? I've never
This is
played it.
Roblox, yeah. He seems to expect more of the treatment that Hedda is giving. Like,
Yeah.
he full understands that he has done a lot of evil things for some very evil people and is now attempting to make up for it.
See, Sari doesn't really know much about like any of the politics anywhere because she just kind of went off into the woods. So she knows the circumstance, but she's kind of just like, okay, we protect. That's our
We protect.
that's our thing.
So, we press on through the streets, through the darkness, till we get to the factory. A massive brick building, belching black smoke. There are no doors to this place. The main entryways are just these open brick archways where carts and ghouls pass through carrying goods, weapons, supplies, which you do see quite a few of. They call them domesticated ghouls, the ones that are more calm, less prone to frenzies, as they are just dragging, bits of steel in and out of the factory. Even at this distance, a good 30-ish feet from the entrance, you can already start to feel the heat coming from this place. It is likely to be almost a furnace inside. What do I like to do?
I'm like scrambling in my pouch, like, okay, what fucking paperwork do I need to get in here?
I
Are
think
there
so.
like
Go ahead.
Nope, please.
I was just gonna come up with something on the spot, so you go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, I apologize if you just said this and I missed it. Guards, are there like things that look like vampire guards, or is it just ghouls that we're seeing?
At the moment, you're just seeing ghouls.
Okay.
I want to do a thing.
Do things.
Okay. I want to pull out the Mask of Lies.
Oh. So we'll
And what are the
take a
what are the
quick,
odds I had a
go
Okay. I was gonna say, what are the odds I have a drop of my sister's blood?
I think that entirely is up to you. We'll take a very quick
Uh-huh.
flashback as you all were prepared to leave, getting ready to step through the flame, and the array of masks were offered to you. What does this mask look like as you pick it up out of the snow, tuck it away in the bag?
God damn
Sorry,
it.
I had to. I
God
had
damn
to,
it.
okay? If it didn't blur out the ears, I would just wear it. I think. Oh, okay. I know what I'm doing. I think it looks like a handkerchief that belonged to my sister that she maybe like shoved in my hands as she was shoving me out to get me out. And that's where her blood came from, is on this handkerchief. And when I pull it out and pass it over my face, it like melds to my face. And I turn into this a little taller than Hedda, with white blonde hair, beautiful vampire lady.
I picture like the cloth kind of melds and turns into almost like this veil that just drifts down with just like blood kind of coursing through it, moving almost like the Rorschach mask.
Yes. Yeah.
So when you don the mask, you get to choose one of its abilities to add 2 points in, or sorry, one of its stats to put 2 points in, and one to put 1 point in. That is deceive, hide, reveal, and educate.
We'll deceive.
2 into deceive.
And 2 into deceive. And then into hide as well.
1 into hide.
Yeah.
I can actually add. Already added Mask of Lies. I already added it.
Where are they again?
So if you go to the very top, it looks like a newspaper. It's 4 sheets. You should see Mask of Lies.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you like to swear an oath as you don the mask?
What oath we talking? Who?
What's your pact?
Freedom.
So you will swear an oath to perform acts that embody freedom.
Oh. Okay, I gotta think about this.
It's also how you get essence to use your mask's abilities.
Yeah. I swear on the life of the woman whose face I wear that this factory will burn and this town will be free.
So roll a d6.
Sure.
It increase your oath die by 1. Go from 0 up to 1.
Another 5.
Heck yeah. So that is 4 essence.
4. Damn, son.
Ooh.
Okay.
Every ability costs
3,
1 essence unless it specifically says otherwise.
I need to get back to my sheet. Okay. And where do I increase my pack die? Oh, okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah, so you guys just straight up see me turn into a vampire right in front of you. Hello.
Did we know that you had this close of connections to vampires?
Nope. I just talk about my sister. I don't say who she is, but this is very obviously the Lady Berenice.
Javon does this like aborted pulling a sword, holds it back, like clearly conflicted on how to.
Javon. Still me.
You have to understand why this would make us uncomfortable.
Oh, I understand.
This is the person you're trying to save?
Yes. She saved me. I owe her my literal life.
To each their own, I suppose.
Still here.
And your sister will help us get into the...
My sister is part of the Duke's household now. She was married off. Part of why I had to leave, because I was either going to get dragged into the house and turned into dinner, or a horrible death. Either way, a horrible death. So she and her mother threw a bunch of money in my hands and sent me on my way.
Well, glad you're okay. That complicates things a little bit, but,
Does it though? None of you have to save her.
it means saving something we're also a part of something we're also pledging to destroy. Which might, be a little complicated, but, I hope you, have bones of a plan for that as well. For later.
Thought of nothing else.
Well, okay.
Anyway, paperwork.
Certainly have the appearance, have the proper stride and air about you.
All right. Bare bones of a plan. I get us in. One of you comes with me to the labs. We find the notes. Maybe destroy the overseer if he's there. The other two start a fire. Block the gates so none of the ghouls can get out. Then we hop the fence and run. See, bare bones. Much room for,
You need to kill the overseer.
Yeah, we gotta kill that guy.
Anyone have the materials to do that?
Like true.
Right.
Little old man gave me a bomb.
And I now have a sword because I said that Javon drew one, so
Yeah.
at least
Sure.
got that.
Yeah.
What was
And-
your load for the mission?
The normal 5.
Yeah.
5? Okay. All right. So who is going with Hedda?
I mean, I am a studied healer. I feel like maybe the scientific literacy might translate.
That would be good. And I think, the two bomb prone of us should not be together.
I think that's. I would agree with that.
I feel
Okay.
like together, more chaos, less thinking things
Mhm.
through. Yes.
Less likelihood of getting the notes out.
I've been roped into being the brain cell again. No.
How about just like not necessarily the brain cell, but the stop and think cell?
Oh, yes. Okay, good. Good.
There's a reason.
Yeah, that. I was like, there's a word for this. I don't know what it is. It's been a long day.
Then the two of you step out and start making your way towards the factory.
Don't speak unless spoken to and act like you're my servant.
We all supposed to be going with you?
Yeah, just to get in.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Then all of you step out, start heading towards the factory, which you have not seen any citizens this close to the factory. They all kind of keep their distance. And you start getting closer and closer to these ghouls, just these emaciated humanoid figures that seem impossibly strong for what little muscle is actually on their frames. But you reach the point where they should have noticed you. And just keep working. They don't lift their heads to look at you. They don't even seem to really react that you're there.
These are the docile ones.
Once we're close enough, I am the Lady Berenice, and you do not know my other name. Let's go.
Yeah. Get to the factory door archway. Now, just the sound of machinery, metal presses, and furnaces, so very loud. The heat is just radiating the melted metal. No alarms, no one's rushing out to stop you. What to do?
Walk right in. Like I fucking own the place.
There are a few patrols of these more docile guards walking in the catwalks above you. Factory floor, where you've entered, is loud, hot, and there is dangerous machinery, forging weaponry, tools, any bits of metal that they need. In just press after press, these dangerous pieces of machinery that, should you get too close, could absolutely just crush you. They are all just belching smoke.
Cassidy will remember this.
All the ghouls that you've come across seem largely uninterested.
Should we fuck with one of them to see what happens?
No.
Javon has like already reached out an arm and like slowly
Grab the
pulls it
ear,
back.
just drag you back.
I'm gonna spend that spare villain point there.
No.
On the catwalk above you, you see a trio of figures. Clearly not ghouls. More heavily armed, masks just plastered to their faces, much like the Forsworn that you'd almost encountered before. But they each have these long pole arms with hooks on the end. As it seems like they're just talking about whatever idle conversation they're having. Impossible to tell through the noise of this machinery. But they stop at one point, and one of them just like reaches down with the hook, grabs onto something in the machinery, and pulls. And the body of a ghoul just comes stretching out, or half of it at least, and just comes tumbling to the ground. Are you all doing anything to avoid being seen?
Nope.
As they all watch the body fall, it lands a good 8 or 9 feet from you in just a splat.
They bleed.
They have bodily fluid that doesn't really resemble blood.
Okay, but not anything that would ignite a rage. Cool.
Can you imagine they'd just be eating each other?
Each
Like,
other
that would be a
all the
big
time,
problem.
yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
the worst system ever. Who designed
Yeah.
this?
The old man we left in that building.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's right. The man-child. Ooh.
The eyes
Um.
of the trio do follow the body down and eventually land on all of you.
Mm.
As they immediately pick up that like hooked spear, head to the ladder, and start climbing their way down the catwalks towards you.
I put on my most imperious look.
Once they reach the bottom, one of them steps forward, the others around. And this is a shouted conversation over the sound of the machinery, but for the sake of the stream and, people that also live in our houses, I'm just going to use my normal volume. Can we help you?
The overseer. Where is he?
I do believe the overseer's a little busy. We weren't exactly
Yes.
expecting guests.
Hunting a little old man who has eluded him. The Duke has sent me to assist. Where is he?
How do you feel about a command roll?
Not great, because I
Yeah.
have no points in it,
Well,
but
Ooh.
I don't
do
know.
it.
Can you get something like an advantage because
I mean,
I'm a bitch.
the appearance?
So-
Yeah,
What if you
do I
can-
get it?
one of you can offer assistance.
I
You
was
take a
gonna say,
point of
could-
stress and give an extra die.
Okay. Because
Um,
we're technically all kind of helping add to the
Mhm.
illusion of this. So if all of us are just kind of like looking and like nodding and trying to just look like agreeable,
Agreeable.
helpful people behind,
like this,
threatening-
just
threatening
wanted to be there,
people.
but like, yeah, yeah, the
like
vibe.
nodding whenever she speaks and like just
Look a little scared of me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
We're not
already
backstrapping
you know
here.
what already
Done.
there like perfect.
so if one of you wants to take a point of stress, then we'll add an extra die to this roll.
If they
I'll do
all take a
it.
point of stress, do we all get a?
Can
Do
we
I?
do one?
Do I get more? Well, okay.
I think there's
have
only
a die.
one
Who
that we
hasn't
can
taken
assist
stress
with.
yet?
I can do it.
Okay.
If you want an extra die, the mask will start whispering offerings.
Like what, Hoop?
Oh.
It wants this fire to be a spectacle. It wants this blaze to be the talk of not only this town, but the neighboring towns for years to come. This
Isn't that already
blaze,
the plan?
That is the plan.
not just to burn down the building, to burn down nearby buildings, to send this fire into the woods, to burn down a chunk of the landscape.
Mm.
The Fae want to burn down a forest.
The mask does.
Oh, good distinction.
It wants this to be not only a distraction, but a spectacle. An almost celebration of destruction.
I do love sabotage. Let's do it. What do I gotta do?
So you get an extra die from the deal with the mask and an extra die from the help of your companion.
And I take the highest of the three?
Yep.
Okay, so watch me roll 3 once. Let's not do that. Cleanse.
And you can also spend an essence for added effect.
Cool. Let's roll.
Yeah. That's a good roll.
I
For those
rolled
of
a
you-
5,
yeah.
a 6, and a 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the first one?
5, 6, 5.
Their highest was a 6.
Yeah.
If you roll double 6s, that's a critical success.
I rolled double
I see.
5s. I mean,
Still, 6 is absolutely success, and you spend the essence for extra effect. They all immediately like take this involuntary step backwards. And again, this is a shouted conversation. All right. Maybe down in the repair room.
you're going to show me.
Of course. And takes like this very dramatic bow.
I will point at Javon and Sari and just like gesture for them to remain here. And then point at Dylis and let's go.
Yes, my lady.
You two finish the rounds. And he'll turn and
Oh.
escort the two of you deeper into the factory. Is there anything the two of you that stayed behind would like to do?
Was I given a bottle of the nitrate? Because I can't really help with the flame thing if I don't have the flame starters.
How many bottles did we get at Hoop? I heard 2, but
Tell him that.
this is a
Give us
crazy
4.
old man in the vein of Victor Frankenstein. So I'm
4.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
We all get one.
Yeah, everyone
Great.
got
have a bomb
Yay!
everybody has bombs.
in a TTRPG.
So, would the two of you like to do anything?
Is there anything that's like indicative of where the laboratory might be? Any like fancy painted signs say lab this way?
No. They figure that everyone that should be here kind of knows the layout of the factory.
Yeah, should be here. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Where are those other two that are finishing the rounds? Where'd they go?
I mean, they're still going from like piece of machinery to piece of machinery, you know, pulling out bodies. But you can see that every once in a while they just turn and look back at you. I still have one more villain point.
Chill out, dude. Any ideas, Sari? Javon is like whispering this. I don't know, but that's what I'm doing.
So it's a very low shout.
Yes.
What do we do? Okay.
Stage whispers.
So at this point, we're not really trying to get we would have to get the notes, wouldn't we?
Maybe.
Fuck.
They're
Do we-
going to find the overseer.
I'm hoping the overseer has
Well,
the notes.
I was gonna say that's what the old man said, was that the overseer would have them.
Okay.
We just gotta blow shit up.
Yeah, so we just have to kind of look for places that would probably burn really fast.
Pretty much everything here is stone hoop, I'm guessing. Like stone and iron.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the source of where the smoke billowing out of the pipes, is that, I'm assuming that's some kind of furnace or...
There is one central furnace that is just spreading the heat to all these machines as it heats up the metal and then crushes and forms it into whatever shape it needs to be.
Sari will kind of point towards that, but almost kind of like acting like she's on a tour, like, oh, what's this, you know, still, if they're watching us every once in a while, kind of still acting like, oh, what's that over there, that must be like where all of it happens. But yeah, I think at least one bottle should go there.
Is that accessible from where we are, Hoop?
Yeah,
or do we need to
absolutely.
make moves?
I mean, assuming that you are trying to downplay your actions, I would probably ask one of you.
I'm picturing us on like a catwalk over a vat of lava. Is that like what we're doing? Because that changes things if that's not what it is.
Replace lava with just like a wall filled with coal furnaces.
So, like
Okay.
in Attack of the Clones when they're fighting through the factory on Geonosis.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
You want to take it, Suri?
So, would consort help in this situation because, well, so you wanted us to roll?
Yeah.
To kind of like act like we're hiding our, like we're trying to be discreet?
Yeah.
Okay. Would consort be okay because it says like you can like you socialize with friends and contacts, so kind of understanding how people would socialize in a setting like this that wouldn't be like, where do I blow it up?
That would be more study. Consort would be like charming your way into a party or trying to trick someone into giving you information.
Okay. Okay. I do have one in survey.
I will
Study
absolutely assist.
would
whatever
work.
you said
Survey would work.
Study. Okay.
Prowl would work.
I think I have a 1 in prowl and a 1 in survey.
I think either way, we got one.
Okay. All right.
Jovan, you can certainly
assist.
take a point of stress to help.
Thank you. So then I would roll 2.
Could also pull out a mask.
Oh, now I need to remember which one does what.
There's one called Ruin.
Violence, riot.
There was one. I just don't remember which one I was looking at, but there was definitely one that.
So riot specifically has an ability or has a stat called burn.
I mean.
It has a stat called explode.
Feels very apt.
It's almost like it was made for it.
Wow. Okay. That was. You said riot, and what is the name of it? The ability?
So down
Oh,
on the
it's
mask there are stats. There's
Yes,
Ruse,
okay.
burn, explode, and evoke.
Okay. So obviously in that situation I'd put 2 and explode. And maybe. Ooh. Maybe 1 in provoke. Your enemies do things they shouldn't. Like maybe kind
Sure.
of, you know, continue working when there is an active fire going on and accidentally stoke the flames even more.
Could be. So you are pulling out the mask of riot.
Yes.
Oh.
Which is very unlike Suri, which is going to be interesting.
Riot. Okay, everyone should now see the mask of riot.
Okay.
Yes.
What does this mask look like as we call on a flashback? All of you getting ready for the mission.
I think when I decide to don the mask, it almost looks like flames have just crawled up my face, but just stayed there instead of actually charring. So it almost looks like this perpetual, almost like glimmer of a flame just shooting right across the center of my face.
Sick.
Like just this glow to match the glow of the furnaces. And then it stays and it kind of cools around the neck and chin into almost like this obsidian, but the rest of it just continues to glow and spark. Also, Singularity Roleplay, thank you so much for the raid. We heckin' appreciate it. Shout out if I can spell. Singularity roll. No, there's no space. Roleplay.
You came just in time to see us explode things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you showed up literally just in time.
As you don the mask of riot, the flames burning across your face, although leaving you untouched. You just slip out of sight of the guards. And yeah, so you can roll your burn instead of your normal stat, which means that you are rolling with 4 dice instead of 2.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm actually just gonna roll this manually because
did you want to take an oath as you don the mask to get some essence?
Yes.
And
I think
your pact was
wisdom.
wisdom. Okay.
Um,
So the mask is going to ask you to recover as much of this research as possible.
Okay.
As you
Well,
pledge your
okay,
oath
so-
to wisdom, don the mask. Roll a d6 to see how much essence you get.
1 second, that rolled off. Okay, 3.
I believe that's 2 essence.
Okay. And then I roll 4 for burn.
Yep.
Okay.
Come on, double sixes. Let's do it.
I'm waiting. I'm ready.
Come on.
Okay, there's 1 6. There's 2 6s. I only have 3 dice, so I had to re-roll one of them, and I was just like, okay, let's see.
So this is already a critical success. It's a great effect. Would you like to spend an essence to increase the effect even further?
Do it.
Well, okay, but the only thing is that the mask is telling me to try to save the stuff in the knowledge, but I'm exploding the knowledge.
So this is
exploding
you
the
are
knowledge.
basically setting it to go off when you want it to. This is such a critical success that the timing can be perfect. It will go off at the exact moment it's supposed to go off.
That is awesome. Okay. Okay, yeah, I mean, I just got 2 essence, so might as well spend 1 to make it big.
Yeah.
And it is going to be a massive explosion.
I feel like it's going to be interesting because Sari definitely doesn't want to burn the forest outside of this area, but she's like so mad at the idea of this place that she wants it to burn like so brutally, but she's going to be mad later when she realizes she burned down nature.
The forest, there's lumber camps, there's fishing camps, all things that lead to the tyrant's cause.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Then the two of you, completely undetected, start setting your explosives. Are you hanging out, or would you like to go in search of the laboratory?
I think we should go find the lab.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
The others, you are led deeper into the factory.
Oh boy.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, I got to be vampire scary lady.
You're eventually led to what is lovingly referred to as repair shop. Nearby an area called the holding area is the repair shop. A number of iron slates with manacles and chains line the walls, where ghouls are strapped down and repaired. There are buckets of discarded limbs and smears of blood and ichor everywhere. There's also 2 individuals, which as the 2 of you are brought in, you catch the tail end of a conversation from one massive figure, standing close to 7 feet, weighing probably close to 400 pounds, just a massive man, clad in metal armor, wielding a 2-headed mace, probably taller than any of you, just like hefted onto his shoulder. He seems to be almost interrogating a much smaller, I think they're called sylph folk.
Yeah, one of me.
What have you?
One of you.
These delays are unacceptable, Kofa. Why isn't the processing room producing more? Well, the formula is very exacting. We're not quite sure how von Zellner stabilized the solution. His notes do seem
Speaking
to be
of
a
von
little...
Zellner,
Figure turns his head to you. I'll get back to you. No more excuses. You know Zellner is going to be dead by the time they get their hands on him. Figure it out. Finally turns to look at you. What you want?
is that any way to talk to your betters, Overseer?
Being one of my betters, I've never seen you before.
I'm the Lady Berenice. The Duke has sent me to help you find one little old man.
The Duke asked me to make him some damn ghouls.
And then you lost the little man who helps you make them right.
You can see that as you're having this conversation, kind of, staring you down, both of you, just occasionally sniffs at the air. Just starts taking heavy, thudded steps closer to you. Oh, my apologies, Your Majesty. How can I be of service?
Show me his note. I want to be able to find him in one piece so we can put him back to work.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, see, the thing is that we've heard these notes may be a little flawed and incomplete. But I'd be happy to give you a first-hand view of how we do things down here.
Lead the way.
Just turns, gives a glare at the individual that he was absolutely berating.
Can I use the hide skill to palm a... Hold on, I want to see what my options are. Where's my sheet? I want to palm a knife. And just have it at the ready for when this guy inevitably turns on me.
Oh. Spending some of your load.
Yeah, I think I've got 1 point in hide, so I can... Is it a roll I've got to do?
No.
Cool.
So you just have a nice blade just palmed ready. Cost you 1 of your loadout.
1, okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. Cool.
The two of you are led deeper into the facility. And I feel like, as we do, it's a fantastic place for us to take a quick break, give everyone a chance to grab a drink, stretch your legs, do what you gotta do, and we'll come back with the second half of this adventure, and the, curse their sudden but inevitable betrayal. We'll see you soon, everyone. And welcome back. Where we left off, we'd begun our infiltration. We'd run into the Overseer and planted the first of many bombs to make sure that this factory becomes a message. Now, 2 of our number are being escorted by the Overseer down deeper into the factory, and 2 are sneaking their way. The 2 that are sneaking jump over to you. As you are going to hit processing. An odd chill runs through this part of the factory. Direct contrast to the heat that emanates through every other inch of this massive building. You start to lose the sound of machinery. Hear the sound of bubbling. There are a handful of technicians walking around. Again, humanoid-esque in appearance, but very distinct feline ears and even feline tails whipping out from under their cloaks. They seem to be going past rows of beakers and alembics, and all the while, across the entirety of this room, there's this reddish hue that runs through tubes, runs into certain beakers, and eventually ends some kind of distillation pot. Two of you seem unseen at the moment. What would you like to do?
I know I am wearing a mask that is telling me to actively try to grab as much of the data as possible. So I'm gonna go towards anything that looks like a notebook or anything that looks like a central, like, display panel, or, you know, the big test tube in the middle of all the little test tubes that everything's running towards. Don't
Sneaking
know
or
how ghoul
just
baking works.
walking into the room?
What?
Sneaking or just walking into the room?
Oh, sneaking? Right? Yeah? Yeah.
Having a prowl roll.
See, that's what I was worried about. Okay. I need to get out of the mask. Okay. Okay.
I will assist. Because while this is happening, I would like to look and see if there seems to be any sort of like alarm system or communication thing that they might have access to.
Okay.
So I'll just
take
roll.
one stress and then get an extra die.
Okay.
You can also push your rolls by taking a stress and adding an extra die yourself.
Okay. So my first one was a 6, and then my second one was a 3. Because I didn't I could have just added buff. But I just rolled twice.
Okay.
So either way.
Either way, it's a 6.
Good for now.
Just kind of slip behind the shelves, slip into the corners of the room where there's less light, not a sound. The technicians here don't seem any the wiser. It's very easy to just, slip by the desks, just kind of grab notebooks full of whatever research they're working on, tuck them away in your pack, and eventually get to that main distillation pot, where there is just a crimson liquid that's... It almost looks like Jell-O, but every drop that hits just ripples along the entirety of it, and then it settles back down into just perfect flat substance.
A big tub of red nitroglycerin.
Not nitroglycerin.
Okay.
It very much has the coppery scent of...
Okay. I was hoping it was blood.
Am I getting a coppery scent? I try to get, catch Javon's eye as they're, kind of looking around. Kind of just, if we need more explosives, I don't think this would be anything that would be like pivotal to helping us right now if this is something we've already been handed, but is it the same color as what we were handed before?
No.
So this is different somehow.
Yeah, this looks like it's part of the process of making.
Okay. So it's probably been infused with other things and
Yeah.
Okay.
But you could
I
take
mean-
a vial of it at least.
Grab a scoop.
Yeah.
Grab a scoop. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yvonne is like nodding and giving you a thumbs up from the corner.
So
Stick your
I like
hand in
grab
the
a vial
jello.
and I kind of just sit there and I like go to dip it with my hand and I'm just like and I like look around for like a ladle or something that I can spoon it in so I'm not just dip hand into scientific experiment.
There's a spout that it looks like they use to fill vials with.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. So I like return the thumbs up and you know, do the proper scientific way of getting liquid into vial. Stopper it. Kind of just tuck it away into my backpack with all the rest of the notes. Or I guess if there's like a little cubby on the side, then I'll put it there. And
Then you're pressing on.
is there anything Javon is doing?
Is there like is this like a one door room and we have to go back the way we came?
No, you could pass right through.
And none of these, all of these techs seem human-esque and not vamp-esque.
They look like beast folk.
Okay. I think we can just press on.
Should we tell them to leave? Just, you know, like, oh, take the day off.
How good do you
Slow
think you'd be at
day.
doing that? Because I am not very good with people.
I'm not either, but let me double check to see if Riot helps with anything else. Well, actually, no, Provoke would be a bad one. Provoke would be like angering them.
I mean, you get the friends, comrades, countrymen special ability, which gives you a plus effect or plus 1d when addressing a crowd,
Okay.
which could be helpful.
Yeah.
This is entirely up to you, my friend.
I know. Yeah. No. That's
Like,
the sad thing is that I think there was another one that was a lot better with this sort of stuff, but I might be able to make that work.
I think the
Unless
special
Hoop won't.
abilities require the XP of the mask to be filled before you can select.
Okay. Yep. That explains the little pizza wheel on the side. Okay.
Just pooping on our dreams. Hoop.
Sorry.
Way to go.
I was trying to save the good guys. Or the maybe good guys that just don't know what
Yeah.
they're doing
And
in this
Javon
lab?
is
maybe?
certainly not on your side for that.
Okay.
So
Well, I don't have a way of doing it either unless I want to use burn again to set fire to something to make them like evacuate. So think I'm gonna have to just walk on past.
yeah, because the only thing is if we get them to evacuate now, they might start evacuating all the ghouls ahead of time. before we
Right.
get-
And the overseer would probably know right away that there are people being evacuated and try to also leave before explosion. So
And there's no way that the overseer is caught on to our friends. No way.
no.
Totally fooled.
Maybe we should try to meet up with them a little, you know?
Do we think that if we like continue down this path, do we think we'll eventually like cross paths with where we thought they were going?
It does all seem kind of looped together.
Okay. Cool. I say we just continue on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Then The two of you, following the overseer, be led to the holding area. A dank row of prison cells holding future victims of the factory.
Yeah.
Individuals with hollow, sunken faces, all in the process of converted into.
Oh no. I want to save them all. Okay, so when you say in the process of being converted to ghouls, I'm guessing that's like something that can't be reversed once it gets started.
Probably not.
Blood is basically extracted from them, and then they're being injected with whatever this serum is.
These poor people.
Yeah. Wait, which group is with seeing the proto ghouls?
Your group.
My
Oh.
group.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got
Okay.
confused. I'm
I
sorry.
got confused too.
The overseer just stops. Well, what'd you think?
I think you're stalling.
You wanted to see where it gets done?
No, I asked for the notes.
Like gestures over towards the tables where you see notebooks are open, there's vials and beakers, and just rows upon rows of bookshelves and alchemical supplies.
Imperious wave to Dylis to go get it. Go.
Okay, cool. Yes, my lady.
Yes, my lady.
Yep, and this tiny demure little servant person here. That's me.
I'm not taking my eyes off the overseer.
I know I don't have to tell you about this. There was a interesting thing that happened when they turned me. It's like taps his nose, or taps the helmet where the nose would be.
And what? I don't smell right?
Ah, no. You smell fine. Something, however, doesn't. Been in this factory while. Get to know every scent, every sound coming from this place.
Shit. We smell like the old man.
What you here for?
Truthfully, found the old man. Wanted to make sure that if I brought him back, I'd be leaving him in hands capable of keeping him again.
And if I asked you where this old man was?
Caught him in a burned out building. There was a tunnel in his cellar.
Where is he now?
Same burned out building.
Good to know.
Hmm.
Just
Now,
heft that warhammer and just take a swing.
I had the knife pulled already. I would
Absolutely.
like to throw it.
Yes.
And as I'm throwing it, I'm pulling out the nitroglycerin to throw that right after.
Put on some combat music.
Yes. And I'm glad that like I'm engaging him so Dylis can maybe run away.
So this
You think I'm gonna
massive
run?
hammer
Hello?
just comes swinging around to you.
Uh-huh.
How do you feel about a skirmish roll?
I don't feel great. I'm gonna do it, but I don't feel great about it.
You can take a point of stress, push the roll, and get an extra die.
2 dice. Okay, let's do this. Hold on, let me mark the stress before I forget, because I am stressed. Do I get anything will the mask help me with anything? No. That's fine. Wait, special armor. What is that in essence? What is that?
So that's an upgrade that the armor can get, that if you would suffer consequence in actions working towards what the mask is telling you to do, you could ignore the consequence.
Oh. Okay. Do I spend that an hour after I roll? I'm assuming after I know whether I'm about to get my head bashed in with a hammer.
Yeah, after.
Okay. Three and a 4.
Okay. The hammer, called Agony, is going to reduce the effect of your roll as it just comes swinging around. You move to pull out the dagger and get it off before that hammer has a chance to collide with you, and what is a very slow swing at first suddenly just speeds, and the hammer is just in your face, just ready to smash you flat. And your attack is unfortunately going to go wide as you have to take that moment to brace yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a moderate success still, which means you're taking a level 2 and a level 1 injury. So you can mark 3 points of stress.
Oh, cool.
So from 1 to 4 in 1 move.
You can also try to roll to resist the effects of it.
Yeah.
Which... But the resistance... So you'd be rolling your prowess resistance. So you get 1 die for each of your stats under prowess that you have at least 1 point in. Whatever your highest die rolled is, you subtract that from 7, and you take that much stress instead.
So I have 3 points in prowess. Or, take that back. I have 4 points in prowess.
So each one of the stats has at least 1 in it.
Yeah, I have 1, and 2.
So you'd roll 4 dice. Your highest die is subtracted from 7, and you take that much stress instead of the 3.
So in theory,
5 is your highest.
Stress? Yeah, I have no stress.
You take 2 instead of 3.
Okay, I'll take that.
It's just
Okay.
Just brace yourself, take the blow, and just go sliding across the room.
Ow!
Your companion just got tossed like a rag doll, Nihilus.
Yeah.
The research is in front of you. What would you like to do?
I mean, is he paying any mind to me right now?
At the moment, he is just cackling with laughter.
I don't think I can outrun this guy. Is the thing. Like, it's gonna take 5 of my steps to catch up to 1 of his. Like,
I got a bomb.
You also have a bomb, but like, I don't know. I don't think you're gonna. It's.
Do what you're gonna do, heck.
Oh my god, I don't know, because it's like I don't want you to sacrifice yourself either.
Oh, I'm not planning on sacrificing myself. You can be assured of that.
You could take the turn simply just making sure you've got as much research as you can gather. You could also don a mask.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it's like I also am between like 2 different masks right now. It's like I could do that right now, and I think for the better story and a thematic moment, I think that fits better. So yeah, I mean, Dyles looks at the research. I mean, it's all laid out, even with the cursory eye, like she knows this is good stuff. Like this is, exactly what we're looking for. But now I'm looking over at
Hedda.
Hedda and the conflict that is happening right now. But even more like down the hallway, just these various, people in various stages of becoming ghouls. And at first, like, I feel like that, incites this anger, this almost a craving for violence, and she thinks about the mask of violence for a second, but realizes that won't help the people down the hallway. The whispers of the Mask of Torment reach her first, and she is going to don the Mask of Torment.
Yeah. What does this look like?
I imagine that it looks a lot like the classic like mask of comedy and like theatrical productions, very commonly seen, except the features are sharper. The grin is more wicked. It looks incredibly menacing in its own right.
It's like the one that's like half smile, half frown.
Kind of, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like even the side that's smiling, the eye is just squinting in just pain. The side that's frowning, you can see is just ready to burst into tears. The entire thing just bold, blazing whites across your head and face. So what would you like to put 2 points in, or would you like to put 1 point in?
What does that do again?
So the 4 stats of the mask are Drain, Vivisect, Suture, and Tend. You put 2 in one of them and 1 in another one, and these basically are added to your stats. You can use them to make rolls.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to go with 2 in Vivisect. And I'm between 2 of them. Yeah, I'm gonna go with 10. 1 in 10.
Absolute. Your hands are just suddenly vibrating, just this deft need for action. There are still prison cells with people that have not yet been processed. You could start unhooking individuals that are mid-process. Basically, your turn would be to helping get these people out. If that's your goal.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay. Then the other pair, as you are just deftly sneaking your way deeper into this facility, you're something come crashing into a wall, just sending shelves splintering, glass vials hit the ground and shatter. Peer around the corner, and you see Hedda just under a pile of broken wood and debris.
Do we see Hedda or do we see the Lady Berenice?
Oh yes, sorry.
Lady Berenice.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that like her mask didn't break.
Yeah.
Okay. So we peek around the corner, we see that I like take a step back, I look at Jovan and kind of like, what do we do? We found them! Not in a good way though.
I mean, I think that this is time to shine, and I'm gonna pull out the little vial, but I'm gonna hold it out to Suri and say, "Do you feel like you can find a good use for it? Because I'm happy to just run in and start swinging."
I get to make a second explosion. Okay.
I'm going to hand the vial to Suri, and I'm gonna run in and start swinging.
Okay.
I
So I
turned
have
the 1
a
point
vial-
stacked up.
No,
Yeah.
no, you don't. No, you don't.
you-
No, you
I
don't.
think
I
you have
do.
3.
No,
'Cause you've
he
only
used
used
to.
2.
Meg gave me 1. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but okay. Sure.
I'm gonna spend 1 to interrupt, so I'll only have 2 left.
Okay, so we found out it's 5.
Yeah, we found out it's 5. Thanks, chat.
As you hand over the vial, turn to go running into the room, this massive figure just looms over top of Hedda, brings the mace up, and is trying to just slam down.
Take me.
What would you like to do to try to avoid becoming a pancake?
Who says I'm going to avoid becoming a pancake?
You were just accepting the blow.
I'm not. No. I would like to. Can I do anything with the mask? I did deceive and hide, right?
So you still have 3 essence left.
Essence on that, yeah. Which I could do to get a special ability, to use one of the special abilities, right?
Since this is a one-shot and we haven't really had a chance to build XP, yeah, we can pick one special ability from each mask that you guys can do.
Cool. Okay, let me look and see if there's anything I can.
You can also take a band.
Oh yeah, bands. Okay. So many new things to learn. Bands. So that would be something that I would have to, like, I would use and not get to use again, right?
Yeah. So once you take each level of your band, it's gone for good.
Mm-hmm.
And if you whatever fill the level 4 band, then that's death.
Okay. I don't know what to do. I would like to. Oh, it is a one shot. Should I pull another mask? I don't know.
Your mask would be very unhappy if you.
Oh, well. Do I care? What do you guys think? Pull another mask or wing it?
I don't think you can actually pull another mask.
I don't. Okay,
Say,
no,
doesn't the first
question.
one have to like wither away first, and then you can?
Damn it. Okay, let me think here. Okay, so I've got the nitroglycerin. Okay, I want to try and roll between his legs, and as I roll away, I want to turn around and lob that vial at him.
How do you feel about a finesse roll?
I'm okay with a finesse roll.
Spend a point of stress to get an extra die. You can spend 2 essence to get another die, even.
I'm gonna do another stress point.
Go for it.
No. 2. I rolled a 1 and a 2.
Rough.
Look, my luck had to run out tonight sometime.
Yvonne, as you come rounding the corner, just weapon drawn, ready to go, that hammer comes crashing down onto Hedda. That's 4 stress.
Huh? I already have 4 stress.
How many can we have?
6.
So we get to see the mechanic when your stress is full.
Yeah.
So either you can choose to be knocked out of a scene, which means that you were basically out until the mission's over. They have a chance to heal you back up, or you keep going.
Yeah.
You mark off your level 4 ban, and you just ignoring pain, ignoring mortal feelings, ignoring any humanity you had left in you, and just give in to the mask.
Let's go.
The level 4 band, the one that kills you later, though?
Yeah, One shot! We're fine!
Hammer just comes crashing down as this massive hulk of a figure just leans over, still cackling. And then something just starts pushing the hammer back up.
Yes.
And it's not an illusion, or not a copy of a vampiric form anymore. Like, that veil is now almost like smoke. And Hedda is underneath, just furious, face just contorted in pain and anger. But, Jovan, feel free to finish your charge.
I definitely stumble watching all of this happen. But heat of battle, been sitting on this pretty much since we walked in. Jovan is ready to go, and I'm going to don the Mask of Violence.
Ooh, what does
Very
this look
good.
like?
It kind of it almost seems like something is being pulled from Jovan, and if you're like looking close, you can see them kind of pale out, almost like their blood is kind of being taken to form this map. And it solidifies into like it's pretty much blank, except there's a large smile that extends from ear to ear, with jagged teeth that seems to kind of like warp itself and grin and is clearly taking joy from being released. And I'm wearing that as I am flying in to come at this big angry boy who just smashed my friend.
Absolutely. Feel it's a wreck or skirmish?
I'm gonna use wreck, but I do want to take the oath for the mask.
Oh, yeah. That's freedom, right?
Yes.
Of course.
So we're in it.
Like, you can see the crowd of people that is being helped by Dylas, and the mask just a moment draws your attention, and you just get this cacophony of whispers of like, help them, get them out, free them. And that just now still like dripping bloody mask full on like fused to your face just fills you with power.
That's a 4 for the essence, so I get 3.
Yep.
I rolled a 4. Okay, and I'm gonna put oh man, it told me to protect. I didn't think it was gonna tell me to protect. I thought it was gonna tell me to protect.
Well,
So I'm gonna put 2
slaughter.
I was gonna put 2 in slaughter either way, but I'll toss the other one into direct, I guess. Gotta get these people out. But yes, I'm going to use wreck. Which, how would slaughter affect
So,
this?
because you have 2 that would both fit the situation,
Mhm.
with just both slaughter and wreck, both meant to be up close personal combat, you can take the worst one to automatically get increased effect. So, whatever you roll, the effect is going to be stronger than what it would have been.
Okay. Then I'm going to take wreck because I only have 1 in wreck. And I'm going to push it. So I'll take another stress for it.
You can spend 2 essence to get an extra die.
We get to use... I need the essence to be able to use my ability down the line. Is that correct?
Yes, so whatever special ability you choose does cost an essence.
Okay. And I rolled a 4, so I have 3 essence. And I can spend 2 essence to get 1 die. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Why not? I'm not gonna live long. So I had 1 dice in there. I pushed it for another. I get to roll 3 dice, correct? Here for a good time, not a long time. Wow. Wow, Cassidy, your bad luck is rubbing off.
No.
That is a 1 and 2 twos.
No. Y'all.
Just come charging in that moment of seeing your companion just get flattened and then go full vampiric rage and start lifting the hammer up is just enough of a distraction to catch the hilt of the hammer just come swinging around.
I'm sorry.
It's just... Yeah?
Nope, go ahead. Tell me how I'm dying.
Just 2 stress.
Okay, cool. I still have 1 left. There are these teammates actions, teamwork actions.
Mm-hmm.
Am I allowed to take one in any way?
Yeah.
Or do I have to...
What would you like to do?
I don't know if this is allowed. I would like to either assist or protect a teammate by pulling pulling Hedda, the Berenice, whatever I'm looking at right now, the shadowy thing, out from under the hammer and kind of swapping places if I need.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Just like take the hilt of the hammer just to the temple, kind of stumble a little, and just reach out, grab onto Hedda's like collar of the cloak, and just yank until they go sliding back towards Dylus. Or not towards Dylus, towards Cerise. And now you are standing not quite face to face, because this individual is a little taller, but like face to, midsection.
Delightful.
Speaking of Cerise, one of your companions just charged up, got smacked in the face, and another one came sliding back to you.
So, the thing is that right now, me trying to explode the room that has 3 of my companions in it doesn't seem like the right move. I'm thinking.
About 16 innocent people.
Yeah. So, I'm thinking the fact that I put my other 1 point into the riot mask for provoke, I'd like to instead go to the beast folk that were working in the rest of the lab and try to convince them that the overseer's going crazy. He's like sabotaging everything they've ever worked for. They need to help us just stop him. Like, doesn't even need to be kill him, just stop him. So like frantically, like, we gotta go, because I mean, mask of riot. I mean, can I start a riot?
Specifically for these individuals, they are terrified of the overseer. So I'll give you House command. No, you want to use your mask power.
Yes.
Provoke. How about provoke? Which you can of course take stress to bump up. You can spend essence to bump up, but it is going to be to a limited effect. So roll high.
Yeah. And roll high and not even fully get what I was. Okay. All right.
Am I allowed to use a flashback to benefit Suri in this moment?
Absolutely.
I would like to use my 1 free flashback that I get to say that because Suri was thinking about it earlier, we did stop to engage. And so there's already a bit of friendliness because there was probably a tip-off also of like, hey, just be ready that something is coming. I would like to just bring the effect back up to what Suri is trying to get done.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
You don't have to spend the free flashback there because that would cost 0. That's absolutely something that you could have feasibly done easily, so that just costs nothing.
Awesome.
So yeah, this will be to normal effect then.
Okay. All right. I will spend 1 stress to make it more
get an extra die.
Possible. Yep. And then, what was the other option?
You can spend 2 essence to get another die.
I don't have 2 essence, so I will just take the 1 stress and hope for the best.
Have the Mask of Riot?
Riot. I think I got 2. I already spent 1.
So since I did say that you could use any of the special abilities, you could take torches and pitchforks to give you added effect when you try to any crowds or cohorts.
Ooh.
That's the last
Awesome.
stress marked, but it is to now greater effect.
Okay. So I roll 3 dice?
Yep.
Cool. Alright, come on. Okay. I've rolled all 4s. So I don't know if that does anything special, but
It's a
3
4.
4s.
It's a success.
Cool.
All of the technicians in that room would just, hairs to the back of their necks start standing. You can see their eyes are just darting. They're looking for a way out, looking for what they can take, and then just kind of swallow that fear. We know secret passages out of here. We can help get people out, but we aren't standing up to the overseer. We've seen him eviscerate.
If we can cause enough of a distraction somehow to just get everyone out and away from him, that's all I ask. Just, he's
Fine,
going
let's
crazy.
go.
And
they're just gonna go sprinting into the room.
Okay. I feel so bad. I'm just like throwing them into their worst fears. Okay. So I'm imagining basically hoping that they will help cause enough of a frenzy in the room that the rest of my companions can get out and follow in the direction of where they're going. And then as I'm leaving, I want to throw the vial of nitrate behind me in the room that would hopefully only have the overseer.
Okay. So you were just kind of holding off in the shadows and just waiting. As Dylus, these technicians come and start helping you undo chains and bindings and start pulling out IVs and helping getting people off tables and unhooking cages. They don't say anything to you, but they are frantically trying to get people up and out.
I think I would be helping with that. I don't think,
Okay.
considering how afraid they were, I don't think I'd be sitting there and, be like, okay, you guys go ahead. I'll be over here waiting.
Okay.
But I will be the last person to leave the room, is what I was thinking.
Then I'm gonna spend a villain point.
Yeah, of course. Because you have so many of those.
I have to. The people would be upset
Oh,
if I
yeah.
didn't.
We're people too, Hoop. We're people too.
Well, thankfully, it is not going to give the overseer another action. It is simply going to increase the clock of the Forsworn.
The force... Is that something we knew about?
The individuals that had come to the scientist's house in the beginning with full armored black masks, the army of the Duke. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But Suri and Dylus, with the help of the technicians, you could get everyone unhooked, more or less to their feet. Those that can't walk can be carried by those that are on their feet. And you can either leave them to their devices, let the technicians get them out, or help them get out.
I mean, do I think the technicians are do I think they're gonna do a good job?
I mean, they want to get out alive, so they're going to make sure that these
Okay,
people get out
because
alive.
okay, great. I was just wondering if there was any amount of time to get some of that research.
You
Some
could
of
get
it-
that
Run over,
instead.
get some of it, and then get back.
I mean, if as long as you're okay ignoring the fight, You could collect every bit of it.
I mean, what do we think, gang?
I mean, I already have some of it, so I don't know how completionist we want to be. I don't know what percentage of stuff I got in my backpack.
Two of you have sworn an oath to wisdom, so getting as much of it as you can is kind of a big deal.
That's right. I mean, if you propose it, then I'll probably want to be like, oh crap, that's right, and crap. Okay.
I don't know. Like, there are like 3 different things I could possibly want to do with this action right now. Yeah, I'm not sure if you heard in the pre-call, but I did change my oath to solidarity, which would go more with helping the people out, or potentially like getting into this fray so people have the time to get out. Yeah, it's probably one of those 2. And I did just take 2 into Vivisect, and I kind of want to just like make sure he can't like run out from the explosion at all. Because Dylies is a healer. She knows like it. The barber background is kind of the cover for being a barber, but also a surgeon. So like, she absolutely knows like what she would need to do so he can't run out.
I feel like suture and vivisect are switched.
The wording was switched for the 2, but yeah.
So vivisect is very precise knife strike, suture is
exactly
intended.
Exactly. So yeah, I think I talked myself into it. I'm gonna do that.
You're gonna join the fray and just start attacking at any bit of unarmored flesh you can reach.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Take some stress.
2. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna take a stress to, so that'd be 3 die, right?
Yep.
Great. Okay, let me clear my rolls. Roll it. Okay, I'll take that 5. Oh my god. Chat. I just rolled 2 1s and a 5. Ah.
So I'm gonna give you...
Now that's the razor's edge right there.
I'm gonna give you an option.
What do you mean?
You can inflict physical damage onto this individual, or basically stop them from being able to pursue. Slow them down enough, cut those specific muscles that would reduce speed, and make it so that anyone that runs has a chance to escape.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to slow him down.
Okay.
Absolutely.
It's nothing that's going to be immediately visible in combat, but come time to flee, he is not going to be able to give chase.
Very good.
3, are you going for the research?
I guess so. Sorry. Cassidy, were you trying to say something? You were muted. I saw your lips moving and then I got distracted for a second. I was just
My dog was barking. I forgot I muted myself. Yeah. Did I see exactly where she slashed him?
I will leave that up to you. You got
That's
skidded across the room and are currently getting up
right.
in like a blood frenzy. If you were paying enough attention to that, up to you.
Okay. So my question becomes, is this now a mask or am I a vampire?
You are the mask. The mask is not a vampire, but that was the persona that you gave it to take. So in the moment, your persona is that of a pissed off, blood frenzied vampire.
Pissed off, blood frenzied vampire is gonna go attack and try and eat somebody.
Okay.
Oh.
What do you want to roll?
I don't know.
We'll if you need a moment
Feel-
to think, we can jump
Yeah.
to Suri.
Yes, go to Suri.
Yeah. So, I think if there was a moment where I realized that the techs were really doing a good job with making sure everyone was disconnected and able to get out on their own devices, and Dylise was, literally just, like, precision working, making sure that there's no way this guy can, chase us, I'll go dump a few more things into my bag, yeah.
Like, it's almost like that video game vision of where just everything just pulses out and things of importance glow. And just through the veil of the mask, you can see everything that matters, even like documents that slipped behind a desk that you have to reach down and pick up and just tuck everything away.
This mask is so cool. Okay.
Love it. Okay. So I'm gonna rip my gloves off so the dragon claws come out, and
Just gonna to paint the picture. You
Okay.
and Javon are standing side by side, weapons drawn, facing down this hulk of a figure. If you want to attack simultaneously, by all means.
I mean,
Got
that's all
ideas?
John's got. I'm gonna hit for sure, but I'm happy to let Hedda go first.
Okay, so my plan was to palm some of the my vial of nitroglycerin and just run up and clock him and have it explode in my hand and therefore in his face.
Yeah. I would probably think that's Wreck, unless you feel like you have a better die that works for it.
That's Wreck. I want to wreck his face.
Okay. It doesn't matter if you spend stress.
I have 2 dice in wreck.
Yeah, I mean, you can spend the stress to get an extra die.
But
Because you're already dead.
Because
I'm dead
it doesn't
anyway.
matter
Because
either
you
way,
already
yeah.
capped out.
So just do what you gotta do. Go out with a bang.
Seriously.
And then literally later when my bomb explodes.
That's a 6, a 6, and a 3.
Let's
Turn
go.
those dice rolls right back around.
Just Superman punch into the chest and face region. That armored mask he was wearing just comes shattering to pieces. Jovan, the 2 of them just explode. Hedda goes again, soaring into the wall, slamming into it.
Who
And
needs
then-
bones?
Just sitting there for a moment and then getting up almost like they didn't even feel pain. But this figure got kind of shoved back a good 5 or 6 feet. Head and face blackened, mask gone. And underneath is just this disfigured, burned, angry face. But because the armor is removed, he is now vulnerable to damage.
I did a thing.
He is also staggered, and if you would like to attack, I would give you not only an extra die, but added effect.
Oh, I absolutely will be attacked.
Kick his ass.
Would you like to push it?
Push it real good.
Push it to the limit.
I think that is going to cap out your stress.
Is this person a vampire, or are they just a really big boy? They're a vampire. I'll push it.
And that
I hate
caps out
this.
your stress,
I hate-
correct?
Yep. I lost stress.
So you are giving in to the mask of violence.
Quick question: what do hero points do in this game? Because we have those.
Oh, we do?
We
You can-
do.
We can
We had
either
one from James,
Spend
and now
one.
we have a condition for one from Doc.
You guys
I
don't
need
need
to
to
read this
die.
out. I need to read this out.
You can either
This
re-roll
hero-
or spend one to alter a scene in your favor.
you have to work in a line from the
Not a problem.
1994
I have-
classic, The Mask.
I have an ungodly amount of that movie memorized.
Good,
Not
good.
a problem.
So you could make this attack with 4 dice because you're pushing it, and with the reroll because you have a hero point.
But I could also use it to do what? What was the other option?
To alter a scene in your benefit.
Can I change my mind about the stress?
Yeah.
For once in my life. I don't think I've ever changed my mind about it. So I have 3 dice, correct?
Mhm.
Ooh, that's a 5.
Would you like to spend your hero point to reroll any of your dice?
No, because a 5 gives it to me, just not the same effect, correct?
Yeah, so 6 would be the highest success you could get other than rolling 2 6s, which would be a critical success.
No, I don't want to use it because those Forsworn are coming, and I don't know what's gonna happen with them.
True.
Okay, well, now I have time to discuss. Should I use the reroll, or should we hold it off for the Forsworn?
Up to you. Entirely
I don't know
up
what-
to you.
I don't know what those things are gonna bring.
Pain, destruction, death.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not gonna reroll. I'll take the 5 hoot.
Okay. You reel back with the blade and just drive it forward, and it full on skewers first into the collarbone region and then up towards the neck. There's just a moment where the two of you are standing there. The head tilts down as much as it can to look at you, and there's just black blood pouring out of the wound. That's a lot of damage.
Oh yeah.
So I know I'm not in this exact moment that everyone's in, but one of the hobbies that I chose for Sari was woodworking, and there's the ash what's the type that's bad
Ashwood.
against ashwood. I was like, that's okay. So I would probably have ashwood on me. So would that help at all, when we're all trying to run out afterwards kind of thing, or just
If
do
you
the
want to
nitrate?
toss an ashwood spike over to your combat companions,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. I literally just have some paper still in my arms, but I toss with my free hand, I basically just toss ashwood into right in the area of Jovan and Hedda.
Is this thing down?
Oh.
This
Yeah.
jumbo thing?
Heavily
Does
hurt,
it-
but not down.
I'm gonna bite him.
Oh.
I want to pick up the ashwood.
Does the masks give us the ability to drink from vampires
Yeah, they do.
for
Well.
essence?
Sari, Nihilus, 2 of you see that your companions, both one fully consumed by the mask, the other in the process of getting consumed, just start swarming towards this vampire.
Yeah.
And from the other side of the room, the technicians are shouting, "Come on, let's go! Once this door is shut, it's shut for good. Come on!"
I mean, is there any way that we can stop them?
If
With the
you want
mask?
to get in the way, you are more than welcome to.
I don't know how well that would turn out.
I have not been.
Maybe I should have just kept the ashwood and just run in and just and go. But
You can also do a flashback to have given it to your companions previously.
what is the cost of a flashback again?
It depends on the severity. I would say this would fall under the cost of 1 stress.
I can do that. I can do that. I'm just taking like casual stress just to help me with my rolls. I'm not taking any like damage stress or anything. So yeah, I can do that. So they have the ashwood and they're like actively fighting with it before. Yeah. So maybe this would go a little faster and we can all get out on time.
Sure.
Two of you are waiting. You are not following the technician's secret passage.
Secret tunnel.
Oh.
Sorry. Every single time I have to. It doesn't matter what it is.
I know.
It's a requirement.
Sorry, cats were scratching at the door.
Oh.
You're fine.
So
if they were fighting with ashwood before, does that mean that the overseer would already be down faster?
So during the flashback, would at this moment give both of them the realization that they have the ashwood weapon that they can pull out.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
So the question still stands: are the two of you staying, or are you following the technician through the secret passage?
Would we be able to hold the door open? Because like they said, once the door closes, so can we just keep the door open for that last few seconds for them to do stuff and go?
I'll give you a command roll. Maybe a consort if you're trying to be persuasive.
Ooh.
But once they're through, they want to shut it. They don't want to be anything to do with this place.
Which is fair. Which is totally justified and fair.
Mm-hmm.
But if I tell them to keep going ahead and that we will close the door and there will be a big boom on the other side of the door after the door's already closed and everyone's safely on our side, I think I got it.
Are you going command or
Consort?
Okay.
Absolutely. Not even messing with a command right now. All right, let's see.
Or sway would also work.
Ooh, that is 2 2s.
They just stare at you. Fear is absolutely taking hold. They are full on just shaking at just the sight of this figure in combat.
Okay.
We still have the re-roll, don't we?
You do. You still have a hero point.
If you feel like it's necessary.
Is that the only one though? Was one already used?
We have 2 if someone does quote the 90s movie The Mask.
Can I take the other one? Because I don't know that movie enough.
That's fair.
Smoking.
Okay. Does that count? Is that my...
That's up to Doc to say if that counts.
Doc.
I will take I will give the other one to somebody who can do that better, but
Reroll.
if you guys are okay with this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doc says it's good.
That's a 4 and a 1. So
Okay.
wait, 4 is
So
Four's
four.
good.
Yeah.
Good. 4 is good.
Yeah, okay.
No, it's just the moment that you start arguing to hold the door open, to shut it behind them, they have already turned and just started ushering people out, just full on running from this place.
Okay. That's okay. And would I have to roll separately to yell to Jovan to just like hurry up really fast? I have nitrate if we need.
I will leave that up to Jovan in the heat of combat, mid-bite into a vampire trying to drink its blood. How much of that statement would get through?
Not a whole lot.
So,
Well, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm
I think.
gonna go ahead.
Okay, it's like I think seeing that these statements are falling on ears that are not listening, and the fact that our mission halfway was to get the old man back to the forest, someone needs to do that.
Yeah.
So I think Dally's is gonna go through the tunnel.
Yeah.
Someone
Yeah.
has to do it.
Yeah.
We'll hopefully be catching up with you.
Mhm.
Then Jovan and Hedda, the two of you would like to roll skirmish or wreck or something from your masks or
So I have a question.
Mhm.
Multifaceted is one of the special abilities. Then it allows you to take an ability from another mask.
so that requires 2 upgrades in order to.
True.
So that one would not apply.
Okay, I had to ask. Yeah, the Mask of Lies doesn't have combat capabilities. Luckily, I do. Okay. I would like to pull out the Ashwood. I guess it would be a stake. I don't know.
Yep.
And my blade, and I would like to, as Javon is like, where are you biting him?
Whatever I can reach.
Where can Javon
chest
reach?
region.
Chest. Okay. As I'm assuming he's reaching up to try and rip Javon off, I'm going to take the Ashwood or take the knife and like pin one of his arms to the floor and then lean in and put the Ashwood stake right through his neck.
Ooh. What ability do you think you'd like to roll for that?
Can I still be wrecking him?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Javon?
That.
Would you like to roll as this is happening simultaneously?
I'm happy to roll wreck. I would also like to know if we hear the Forsworn or any ghouls coming because of all this blood.
Don't imagine you can hear much
Okay.
over the machinery in the room, over the sounds of combat.
I'm spending another stress because I'm gonna die anyway, and I'm gonna roll 3 dice. 4, 4, 3.
5.
5 total.
Yeah, my highest was a 5.
As you are attacking together, I'm just assuming that basically a group action. Both of you getting a 5. You are just going to start hitting him down, just driving the stakes wherever you can reach. Just that bite, like ripping into the rib cage and just tearing off chunks of metal and flesh. He is going to, of course, not go down without a fight, and his own fangs are bared and just bites whatever he can reach, claws just ripping into whatever he can. One of his abilities is that he adds an extra stress whenever he would deal damage to a minimum of 1, no matter what the roll is. Which means that, Jovan, you can either be taken out of the scene, basically just get knocked off of him, just sent flying, and you are removed, or you give in to the mask.
I'm giving into the mask.
It's a spicy meatball.
The two of you would just start ripping into this vampire. Suri, you see that both of your companions have fully given in to lies and violence.
So I know that means that they're not going to be able to be redeemed, I'm guessing.
It means that they embody the mask. They are no longer wearing it as a weapon. They are the aspect of lies and of violence.
Okay. So it's not Hedda and Jovan in front of me, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I feel so bad, but I feel like I need to just close the door and run.
No. We
But it
knew what
feels
we were
weird.
doing.
I know. It still feels weird. I am going to very gently put the bottle of nitrate down in a place where I know that both of my former friends would see it and know it's there. They can do what they please with it. I don't want to be the one to do anything with it right now. And I just have one of those like sad sitcom moments where I like close the door and then I kind of like lean up against it for a second and I'm like, and then I just start booking it down the hallway.
Here we go. Post that so you can all hear the music that's playing. As you follow Dylus heading down the tunnel, when does that first explosion you set go off?
I think I basically had it planned for once I got like a certain distance away. So now that I've probably gone underground and we're really far out in the tunnels, I'm assuming that like after I reach a certain point away from that main section, we hear a pretty big explosion.
Cascade of explosions as furnaces are melted and then heat sent up into explosions that overheats them and causes them to ignite. Chains of boom, 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 all the way down the factory. As everything is incinerated. Hedda and Jovan, the two of you fight until there is nothing left of this vampire torn to shreds. You look up to see reinforcements. See those same armored, masked figures from before having charged in. The two of you now full frenzied mode. I'm gonna ask each of you what this final scene looks like for you. As you can hear those explosions starting to go off, we're facing down the most skilled soldiers in this part of the world. Hedda, what does this scene look like for you?
Sari left that vial of nitroglycerin.
You feel no pain, no...
My fingers are still sort of attached. Let's go fix that.
Yeah, I will run in and slash with my claws until I get a space in between them and then just boom, smash it into the ground. Take out as many as I can.
Now fully embodying this mask.
And I want to make it still be Bernice's face when I do it so that if any of them survive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The visage, what was just this frenzied vampire, has full on turned to just this smoking, ashen figure, still with this pristine, beautiful vampiric face. Everything else is just turning to charcoal and starting to just kind of splinter and fly off into the flames. None of these explosions hurt. None of what surely is tons of broken bones hurts. We're just the embodiment of a Fey weapon. Jovan, right by your partner's side, what does this moment look like for you?
Jovan's biggest fear in all of this was being fed on, having seen their brother being taken away for that fate. And so feeling the bite from this very terrifying vampire is definitely what set them off. And I think it's all happening so quickly that the mask is taking over, but there's parts of Jovan that are still there. And he is very afraid because he doesn't want to be fighting like this. He wants to be able to, like, go to what he considers home, back, with everybody else, back to the court. And so I think that there's sort of just this, I don't know what it is exactly, but there's a part of him that is trying to call out to the court, to call out to Sorelli and try to find that comfort that they once felt when they first came across them.
Amidst the pure chaos, the bloodshed, in the back of your mind, it just starts to get cold, and everything else just fades away. It's just you standing in a cold clearing. You can tell that combat's still happening. You and your partner are still fighting tooth and nail, literally. And yet, feel movement behind you in that clearing. She just reaches out, puts a hand on your shoulder, and pushes everything else out. It will be okay. This is not your end.
I always thought that this was how it it would all end for me. And then I found you and all of these people, and for a moment I thought that it could be better. And still here we are.
Yes. This is the price that we pay. I am no stranger to suffering. I feel your pain. I feel Hedda's pain. I feel all these experimental people, all of their pain. If I'm willing to send you, fight for us, fight against the vampires, be damned if I do so without understanding what you feel.
I think Javon smiles to himself and has this whole time not been looking um, at Sorelli, and probably would turn almost like looking for a hug in the moment. Um, but I think that there's a little bit of comfort in what Sorelli is saying.
She would, if you turned, move to embrace you. Or, well, as much motherly as she could be. But two of you eventually be engulfed in flames. The building itself is destroyed. As promised, you cannot die. Your mortal selves are gone, become part of the mask. You find that in that moment of feeling no pain, really only a sense of duty left. Hedda, you eventually feel another individual connect with you. As a young man, having made some pact with some fae, reaches out, puts on this charred, bloody mask. Hear them calling out for help, for guidance. What would you say to them?
Hello, little one.
Oh, who is that? What?
Hmm. I am the mask of lies. What lies do you need to tell?
I want out of here. I want out of this house. I want away from them. I want a chance to fight.
Oh, I can provide you with that.
What do you want?
What are you willing to give?
Everything.
Excellent.
Canyon. The embodiment of lies, becoming a mask yourself. Yet another towards the Fey Court.
Mm-hmm.
Jovan, you have a choice. Much the same, you can embody violence. A guide for the next that would call on the mask of violence, help them find their purpose. Or you leave with Sorelli, turn to the winter court, stand by her side.
I think Javon's little ears have come up, and I think that there's like they're kind of like, twisting around independently. Um, but I think that the comfort of having Sorelli is probably the first time they've had motherly comfort in a very long time. And so I think that they're gonna stay with Sorelli.
Your connection to Hedda, to this fight, to the flames, to violence, severed. Art, Jovan have many, many years to decades to figure out what you really are now. But maybe for the first time in a while, feel peace. And that will bring us back to our two survivors. Suri and Silas. The factory goes up in a tremendous explosion, the flames cascading down to other nearby buildings, all owned and operated by the factory, causing more explosions as chemicals are superheated. They even spill out across the river into the forest, logging camps towards outposts. This fire will burn for days. In return, select your scientist. Anything you'd like to do way out of this?
I think that initial excitement of getting to blow up like all these horrible things has kind of been overwhelmed by the feeling of realizing that Sari abandoned somebody else for the first time in her life. Usually she's so afraid of being abandoned herself that she doesn't let people get close, and then all of a sudden she let people trust her, and she couldn't do anything. So she'll be still going through the motions of everything that needs to be done to fulfill the rest of the contract, and trying to be as actively, helpful to Dylise and all of the people who were saved, but there's that really heavy feeling. Because she, That's gonna be hard to get over.
Yeah, I think similarly, the flashing of these large flames from the explosion are um, painted on all of the faces of the people that are looking back and seeing the destruction that is happening um, right behind them. Um, Dilise does her best to tend, as the mask wants her to do, to tend to these people, to figure out if there's anything that she needs to reverse in these people as part of the process, to heal, to do all of that, essentially. But first, that takes getting the good old man that we left. We had to collect him back up.
Leave him
And
too close to these flames, right?
yeah, no. Loki might need him. And yeah, first she'll act as a guide, to lead all of these people back to the forest that, the two Fey Court people know so well, but no one else here does. And as kind of a bookend to, Dilyse's opening shot with the glow of fire in the background, you see the same thing, but with a couple more figures that she's leading across.
They not say a word, but you can tell there's just this tense. Where are we going? Where is safe? Not fully understanding who you are or why you came from. But make it out of the city, get back to the forest, where everything starts to get colder. Snow starts to fall softly. Find that all of your footsteps are met with the crunch of snow underfoot. Come across a solitary lane. The technicians, the scientists that were helping get all these people out, just look at it, look at the pair of you. What's this?
It looks like a doorway.
Oh, it looks like fire.
Here, let me show you. And she'll walk on through.
Really, with no other choice, they would follow suit, one after the other. Being, of course, met by now a handful of members of the court, ready to bring them in, get them fed, clothed, back to health. Sorelli is there, waiting, staring at all of these. Every once in a while, she points to one and then whispers something off those nearby her, possibly looking for the next of potential followers. But once they're all in and accounted for, approaches the two. Done well. For that I am grateful. Lost, too. For that I am sorry.
We knew it was a possibility.
Know that they live on. Their purpose is not done. They will still fight. May come across them one day.
Make that sound more like a threat, Hoop.
Well, I'm gonna ask. I was like, wait, if Jovan decided to stay with Cyrelli. Like, do we get to see them?
Yeah, that's what I was like.
Are they there?
Yeah.
See, like, a nice, like, just...
A statue?
I mean, there's a lot of figures of the Winter Court here to help out, and Jovan doesn't know who they are anymore.
That's right. Maybe one day we'll be able to piece it together, see which one they are.
For now, rest. Regain your strength. Return to your world with renewed purpose. She just gestures towards the snowscape, which very much Elsa's style just starts building itself into this small castle. The gate just opens for you, and inside is your own private snow villa.
Ooh, an igloo.
Vacation.
Well,
Go ahead. I was just gonna say, so I made some like little nature tidbits for my character, thinking I was gonna be like giving off those like nice, shamanistic words of wisdom. So I think before I like start walking towards my little snow villa, I'm just going to no one in particular, just kind of like to myself, and if someone hears it, they'll just be like, "Did you say something?" But one of the ones that I said, because like I said, my character walks barefoot. I'm just gonna kind of look at my feet and like in the snow and kind of do a little like flexing my toes thing, and just say, walking barefoot is the best way to commune with nature, and if you step on a branch or sharp rocks, it just means that you aren't trusting it enough. And again, doesn't mean anything, but she's just finding just kind of recentering a little bit and trying to just remember the basics before she just goes off.
Well, with the mission over, the people rescued, with a new informant on your side, and a massive factory out of commission, you've all earned some rest. That's a fantastic place for us to bring this game of Brinkwood, Blood of Tyrants, to a close.
I died.
You
Sorry.
technically just were reborn into a new purpose.
I did. I'm a mask now.
Thank you so much for being here, for being a lovely cast. Thank you to everyone that came out to support us. Oh, that's some heavy metal music. That's so...
It's not it. It's not the vibe.
Apparently that playlist is just heavy metal music.
Is this where we find out there's another boss just in the safe haven?
Oh my god.
It's me attached to this kid's face, just coming to find everybody.
No.
But yeah, I do want to go around one more time, give everyone a chance to tell people who you are and where they can find you on the internet. We'll again go clockwise, starting from me, which means that we are starting with Lonnie.
Okay. Hi everyone, I am Lonnie or Looney Shaz. I played Suri tonight. I am absolutely heartbroken of just having to sit. Listen, I made my character a foundling, so I literally was planning on her being like, oh my god, woe is me, I was abandoned as a child and then this happened, and then I abandoned people. I was just like, this doesn't feel good.
But there were circumstances where that action was in your best interest and their best interest.
Yeah, I guess inviting violence and lies to follow me down a tunnel where there was no other way for them to exit wouldn't have been great.
Mm-mm.
But my friends were attached to the masks at one point, so it still didn't feel good. But anyway, it was great playing with all of you. Always so much fun. And I guess if you want to see more of me, the next thing that I'm in is on Friday. You can come see me be in a sitcom where I am sad because my boyfriend Zeus broke up with me. Very different vibe from today.
Zeus.
His name would be
No,
Zeus.
he was literal Zeus. Literal Zeus. I am. So,
how many people was he dating?
Zeus was a player.
We're not gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
We're not gonna talk
I think
about it,
you dodged
okay?
a
My
bullet.
character still
More
thinks
like
she
a
has a
bolt.
chance.
Yeah, you dodged a golden goose, I think is a couple
Yeah.
metaphors mixing there.
Yeah.
Um,
Somehow, I don't know how, but somehow it turned into a mixture of New Girl and Greek gods, and I ended up being Jess moving in with 3 goddesses and being sad about my breakup with Zeus. So if you want to see how season 1 turns out, because apparently our pilot went well last week, come stop by. That's on High Shelf Collective. And then, I'm on here too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over to Heck.
Alright, hey everybody, it's me, Sir Heckalot. I have to say, I'm legally obligated at this point. Don't laugh at me. Tonight I played, Dyles, the barber slash healer slash now, Mask of Torment, maybe? Who's to say? We'll see how that goes. But you can find me on all the social medias at Sir Heckalot, including Twitch, Itch, Twitter, Instagram. I'm all over the place. Just find me. It's the best place to figure out where I'm going to be in the TTRPG space next. Because I wander just a lot. I'm kind of all over the place. I don't know. I sneak into games sometimes. It's great. Tomorrow you can find me over on Neon Lights Roleplay with Cold Hands, Warm Hearts, our Rhyme of the Frost Maiden campaign. On Saturday, you can catch me over on Indoor Adventures with our 1986 West End Ghostbusters campaign. It is I think starting to come to a close. This is like the beginning of the end. The big scary ghost things are happening, so you don't want to miss it. It's gonna be wild. On the 17th, you can catch me back over on Neon Lights with Oathsworn, Odyssey of the Dragon Lords. The oats are indeed warm, and my character almost died last session, so, great stuff. And lastly, next Thursday, you can catch me over on Dat Magic Juice's channel, playing an All Hail the Queen, our Tyranny of Dragons campaign. That's enough for me. Just follow the YouTube channel, look at the website. You got it. I'll keep on keeping on.
Yeah. Over to Cass.
I am Cass. I exist on Discord as Yoda Almighty. And I will be on Singularity Roleplay at the end of this month and the beginning of May, playing Spy Game, which is the 5e hack King's Gambit, and then back to seducing the Eldritch Snake Man in Call of Cthulhu, Speakeasy Conspiracy. Yeah, there's a clip rolling around of somebody making a mistake and giving me a 2-hour setup, and I just knocked that one out of the park. So yeah, team Seduce the Snake Man is winning right now in our group chat. So yeah, you'll get to see my character die, but what a way to go. So.
I feel like there's a theme here between Alien and this.
Look, if I am given an option to, poke the red button, I'm gonna poke it. That's character flaw.
Yeah, you see the red button and you choose smash.
Yeah, I get the Harley Quinn hammer out and I go, ha, boom. So, but yes,
speaking
smash, no pass.
Speaking of characters that have died, over to Kian.
Kian, my pronouns are they, them, theirs. You can find me on Twitter at uptight_Chiffon. Today I was playing Jovan, who, yes, died at the end. Shock and awe to nobody who has gamed with me before. I am also somebody who cannot resist pushing the red button. Tomorrow night I will be hanging over on Sword and Key with the Invisible Sun campaign. I am playing Aspen, who is currently cursed. and is about to get their heart broken in a big way. So shit hit the fan last session. The group is kind of going to be in shambles. I'm really excited about it. And then on Sunday, I will be back here for the next episode of our Nova campaign, in which I am currently dead. I'm so excited, y'all. The feels are going to be so big. If you have not watched the previous episodes, you definitely should go check them out on YouTube. That campaign is just, it's so good. But we are going to have a lot of feelings. And then next Saturday is going to be our second episode of the Fabula Ultima campaign here, which I'm really excited about, which I'm quasi-cursed there as well because I grabbed a medallion. So, you know, we're doing all the things. But yeah, that is kind of what I'm up to right now.
There's a theme. When you play with all of these amazing people for so many months through so many different games, you start to recognize the kind of characters that everyone likes to play. And
I
it's
feel
amazing.
attacked.
I guess that just leaves me. I, of course, have been Andrew, your storyteller for tonight's game. If you like what I do, you can find my posts on Twitter at SirHooperLCRPG. You can also find me in our Discord, which is where we post things like casting call schedules and just generally hang out and be giant nerds. Keep an eye out in the next couple weeks for our casting call for next month. You're gonna see a bunch of horror games on there, some Locust, maybe some other some new fun horror games that we can try out. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to throw a raid over to Dork Tales, another group of really cool nerds who do really cool things. But that's it from us. So, as always, be good people, do good things, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.